My tummy hurts and I hate the government. Boy, if that isn't just like the mood to end all moods, mystery, I'm so there with you. Ahoy, landlubbers. It's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. I'm going to apologize in advance if at any point I am having a particularly difficult time modulating the sound of my voice during this stream. I've been having a really bad day. Among the reasons for that is that since I've moved to Florida, I've had this like sharp increase in like ear blockages, and like sometimes it seems like it's earwax and like I can use earwax treatment stuff to clear it. But like sometimes like today just like it usually happens either like while I'm sleeping or like right when I take a shower. And my left ear is like completely blocked. It feels insane to be talking right now because I can hear like basically nothing on the left side at all. I can't hear any like music from the game at all. Not, I mean, right now I've turned it off for the purpose of talking to you. But like, it's just, there are times when it's like a mild inconvenience, and like right now it absolutely sucks. It's awful. Like, it's very distracting. I am like constantly aware of it. It's very annoying. And like it's been on and off, and it was like good for like a week and a half, and I was like, okay, great. Like it's warming up. I think maybe it has something to do with temperature changing. I don't know. But like this is like the blockest it's been in a long time. And I mean it only happened like when I showered like a few hours ago, like after work. But like, oh, it makes me so upset. It's very annoying. Cause like you can't like you just what do you do where you're like not thinking about like the fact that you sense nothing from an entire side of your head. Another thing, and this is a little bit of an experiment in progress. A couple weeks ago, I ran low on 100% juice apple, and went to the store to replace it, and they didn't have any. They just didn't. So at the time, the best thing to do was to get like premium juice apple or something. I don't remember exactly what the label says. None of the labels in Florida are as fun as the California ones that just literally say 100% juice apple on them. And like I only took a sip of this for the first time, I think like right after I went live, and it's like, it's not, I don't think it's that it's bad. However, it's like, it's more different than regular juice apple than I expected, and I feel like that's going to throw me off too. It's just I don't know if it's bad, but it's not right, you know? I'm just so used to it being something specific, and it's not that, but it looks like that. It says been dealing so yeah, this is recurring but not exactly regular or like consistent. Like it happened a bunch of times last year, and it has happened like a few times this year, but like it didn't happen very much towards the end of last year. It was like mostly in like quarter 1 both years. 100% cold dry air does this. I honestly haven't been checking the humidity lately. I don't know how dry it is here. Wait till we can get you 100% juice apple. But like, I mean, there's no shot I was just gonna throw away the entire like. At the time, there was no way to know if good juice apple would ever show up again. And so we got this like premium stuff, and I wasn't gonna like throw it out without trying it. I could go get another glass, but maybe I'll get used to it. Maybe something this week won't just make me furious. I mean, I don't think this is tinnitus. How did that sip of the apple juice taste completely different than the other like 3? Whatever. Hi, Keen. Welcome to the stream. Hello, welcome. I don't think it's like tinnitus. I don't think it's like I have an ear. Like I think it seems like it's a seasonal complication. It's not exactly allergies, but I think it's closer to that than anything else. But like, listen. So I think it was last Saturday, sometime last weekend. You know, we were concluding January. By the way, it is Friday, February 6th. We aspire to perhaps complete the Séance of Blake Manor. um, tonight. That may or may not happen. I'm gonna be honest with you. The way today is going, if we finish, I don't know that we're starting another game today. I'd love to live in the perfect world run. Like that's like a trivial inconvenience. I'll definitely do that. But like I can't. I'm so upset. Um but so like last week we were talking about like I wanted to celebrate people's accomplishments, things that maybe other people didn't notice, maybe small things. There are all sorts of things that go unsung all the time. And the great irony, because the universe hates me so much, is that I've been faced with a battle that I am at risk of losing. I want to tell you about probably the first thing that I will ever return to the Pokemon Center US. Colon, depression is an incredibly irrational and stupid thing. So, a few weeks ago, I mentioned, like casually on stream, that there was something from Pokemon Center that I was really excited about, and I was sort of like saving up, and my goal had been, because it was the purpose of this thing is that these bookshelves that I've mentioned a couple times on stream that I have forced my mom to build with me, they're both done. It's great. The second one is a little vexing to me because it has like lots more scuffs on it and stupid things than the other one did, which came out like perfect. And then the second one was like good, but it makes me mad. Also, I might have to readjust one of the magnets that keeps the door closed because I swear one of them's like busted for no good reason. But so finished that last Sunday and I was like, okay, great. Now that I have this bookshelf that has these weird optional side hooks, I can get this bag from the Pokemon Center that I was really excited about. That's like, it is like explicitly designed for carrying sitting cuties around and has an optional little pouch for displaying additional sitting cuties if you hang it up. So it could be like a safe way to transport your stuffed animals on a trip or something. And you know, it also is just like a display piece. It was like exactly the solution I wanted. It was like I wanted to hang some of my sitting cuties up that like don't necessarily hide super well for like secret Squirtle misdirection purposes. The thing we do at the end of the stream if you're somehow new here. Um, and I bought it. It showed up yesterday, and I gotta be honest, I hate it. It makes me so mad. And it's like it like really like my mood went from like I was like eagerly waiting for this thing to show up, and like had just like the only thing that mattered to me like all yesterday was like when it was finally going to show up, and like busting it out and hanging it up, and my whole life being solved and perfect and amazing. I've really been struggling to like come up with like display and storage solutions for things around my house. I have so many things. I've managed my entire life poorly. I'm basically a hoarder. I have lots of problems. But like this thing is making me furious. So here it is. So like here's the bag. Here's the additional storage. The camera will never focus on this. It's meant to look like a little Pokemon Center, which is adorable, and I do love that. The outside of this bag is itself like plush, which to me seems like if I intend to use this to transport them to places where I don't just want to carry a stuffed animal around, I feel like I don't also want that bag to be plush. Also, it's like a type of soft that like messes up my hands because my skin is like sensitive like a half reptile child. Don't worry about it. I'm constantly, the winter is wreaking havoc on my hands. I've been like constantly applying medicine and it's like barely keeping the destruction at bay. But yeah, so like the problem I have is that like the photo on the website shows this thing as if it's like perfectly sized to hold these things. And like I think I'll be honest with you. I think I've messed around with this enough that I think I'm overreacting about it. I'm gonna be completely candid. Mostly I really mostly want to talk about this because of how stupid my reaction to it is. And to like really, there are people in my life and perhaps people in your life, especially if you are not someone who deals with depression or interrelated mental health issues, who like don't truly comprehend that like the depth of irrationality of how mental illness functions. But like I literally like hung this up and I tried to put my Palossand in it because I really wanted Palossand to be on display in my house. Um, and it stretches the ever loving nonsense out of this. Like I have put the smallest sitting cutie I have beside it, and like they still can like barely horizontally coexist in this thing. And like he can't sit flat at all because he occupies too much space. And like, you know, I probably could have like checked the exact dimensions on this thing. And I'm not even saying that this is necessarily a bad product, even at the height of my frustration with it. But what I am saying, and I wouldn't even go so far as to insinuate like false advertising. But if you go on the Pokemon Center website and you look at the listing of this thing, it shows like 3 sitting cuties and they look just so perfectly situated in it. But like once I got it, I took a look at them and I was like, oh, they're like all like the skinniest, like least space occupying sitting cuties of all. They're like the tiniest ones. So like it's not that they've done anything that like outright misrepresents what it is, but like it kind of gently massages the truth, you know? Like even Rowlet here, who is like, he's just a little guy, is like his face is like mashed up against the front and also stretching out the back of this thing. And it's just like it's specifically for sitting cuties, and like anything that has like a real tail to it, like barely or doesn't fit, it's just it just feels to me like we didn't think this through. Now, again, do I think that my reaction to this is like stupidly intense? Yeah. Like I literally like hung this up and tried to put my Palossand in there, and then like spent like 8 consecutive hours before going to bed teetering on the brink of having like a full-on depressive episode. And then I woke up this morning and felt awful, and then I had like another, just like my like 50th consecutive bad work day, and the ear thing, and like a couple other, I don't know what's going on with the juice. And like it's just every little thing that happens is just awful and pissing me off. Oh, like the show I've been looking forward to the most every week, I save that for Fridays when I'm getting ready for stream because I have so little time, and I like to try and put myself in a positive mindset so that I don't come on the stream and then just like trauma dump on you, you know. And the show that I look forward to right now is The Pit, which by no means is like a cheerful show, but it's the one I'm most interested in. And I tried to turn that on today, and then I think I actually mentioned on stream like not extremely long ago that like my HBO Max subscription was never canceled when I canceled my cable like almost exactly 2 years ago now. And then like I went to watch it today and it was like, good news, we figured out that you shouldn't have access to this, which is something I don't feel bad about because the cable company had done so many like mega dick moves to me over the period of years that I subscribed to them. I was like, this is the least you can do. I don't feel the need to go out of my way to correct your negligence when your negligence repeatedly cost me and you didn't do anything about it. But so like then I had to spend like a bunch of my like narrow window of time between work and stream like trying to decide if I like was willing to subscribe for like a month so I could finish watching this ongoing series and stuff like that, and then like ultimately deciding that it was important enough for me to do it, and then like having to do that, and it just like it took like so much time, and like that alone wasn't a big deal, but it's just like 1,000 paper cut situation. So like just everything is like dragging me down, man. It's really pissing me off bad. Everything is bad. I'm very upset about everything. I hope you're doing better. I hope that you all have had a graceful entrance into February. That isn't just like, I mean, just I couldn't I could go on forever telling you about all these like asinine work stories that have all been so annoying. So unbelievably annoying. I mean, there's just been so many people like just clearly not reading my email. Like I will contact someone like not even like exaggerating, like 12 times to answer a simple question, and then like on the 13th day they'll be like, "Hey Vasco, I realized that this like optional thing that we like never opted into isn't in place." And I will hasten to point out, my lovely landlubbers, that every single one of the 12 previous messages mentioned that that was a thing that they should consider doing, and was in fact a particular reason why they should contact me with haste and not wait like 13 business days. So like that's like the baseline. I've had so much worse than that going on, including like my boss pulling like the same nonsense repeatedly during the course of just this week, where like multiple times I've written these sort of like emails that are like, okay, so this radio station like didn't comply with something and we have to give them like a stern warning before we like make it a bigger issue later. And like when we have to do something like that, I always like write a little synopsis of like any relevant details. And sometimes it's just like they goofed up this one thing, but this is a formality. And sometimes it's like I have like 7 years of history with this station and they're always bad and anything they say is a lie, yada yada yada. Like it sometimes it goes real deep. And like there were like multiple times this week where like he'd be like, "Hey, Vasco, did you consider this thing?" I'm like, that was literally the first sentence of the email I sent you. The first one. Not like it was in there and you didn't read it. It was like you clear like before you even open the email, that information is staring you in the face. Let me catch up with chat. I did see someone ask you about the iguanas. We don't have iguanas here. I think that's a southern Florida thing for the most part. They may be like somewhere in the vicinity of here. I have not seen any iguanas locally to where I'm at in sort of central Florida. I know it's like a big thing. I think I may even have mentioned it last week on stream that like I read something on like a Florida subreddit that was like, okay, so there are places that will like pay you a bounty for bringing in iguanas because they're like an invasive species that don't belong here. But like even if you find I forget the name, there's some special biological term that's like the type of hibernation that's triggered in reptiles when it gets cold enough that doesn't like outright kill them, but like completely shuts them down. But it's like, yeah, you know, even though it looks like they're doing that, like don't put them in your car and like turn on the heater because it's like relatively cold out, because that will wake up the iguana and then you'll have an angry iguana in your car. But like, no, I've seen none. I mean, I've seen some like posts and some stories and stuff online, but I haven't seen anyone around here. Let's see. There's someone asking about my horrible skin. Oh man, I'm gonna complain about my skin for a second, just because I'm in such a foul mood. Back in California, I found like a local primary care physician, and like I went and got like a physical one time, and he looks at my skin has been terrible forever. When I was in college, I got like diagnosed with some like mysterious skin rash that had like a special name that like had no treatment, but like they were like, it'll probably go away, and it like did. But I had it for like, how long did that last? Like 5 or 6 years? And like there was like nothing for it. Like you could use like typical like topical ointments and stuff on it and it would sort of keep it from like getting particularly bad. But like the doctor who had diagnosed it at the time was basically like, yeah, this is pityriasis rosea. I don't, no one knows what it is. Like, we have a name for it, but it's just like your skin is like bad and it has like a weird shape, but like it's not serious and it'll probably go away. And it did, but it sucked and it lasted for years. And I got it like a couple months before like prom, and like that was making me like really self-conscious because like I don't know. My prom sucked anyway. I had bigger issue. I don't know why it mattered. But like when I like went to see my doctor in California when I was on my like current insurance, guy like looked at like my regular like hand. He's like, wow, like this is what did he say? He said it looked like, he's like, oh, these are some real ulcers. You gotta get these looked at. I was like, really? Because like this seems like a normal like skin blemish. And he was like, no, I'm gonna recommend that you like see one of our specialists like in building, which of course took like 3 months or something to like get an appointment there or something. Um, and like when I finally went to see them, uh, like that the lady was like super like standoffish. Like I remember her just like not wanting to like interact with me as a human at all. And then she like looked at my hand and was like, "This is, I mean, it's like a rash. Do you like wash your hands a lot?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, it's like probably that. So like just like be careful about that." I got charged like $200 or something for that. And I was like, yeah. This is why I don't see doctors when I like don't have to, which is not like a life lesson. You probably shouldn't do that. If my sister was here, she'd be mad. She gets mad about these things. Um, but like, uh, yeah, my skin sucks. It's just like that, especially on my hands. A couple other like joints, it's all kind of standard stuff. Um, One thing I thought was funny is that like a podcast I've been catching up on. I don't even remember what the subject was because I've been like going through this series like reasonably quickly. Can tell you know it's the one. But like, oh no, that's right. So they were because it was like an older episode because I'm catching up on it. And it was like when it was like trendy for everyone to try to like recategorize all food into like one of like a handful of groups. And in this particular instance, they were trying to categorize everything as sandwich, salad, or steak. And then at a certain point in their conversation, they got it like they reached a point of like reductivity where they were sort of like, if it's wet enough, it's probably soup. If it's dry enough, it's probably salad. Um, and it was one of them observed like this is reminding me of the fact that like I had like a cousin or something who's a dermatologist, and they joke that like basically everything in dermatology is like, well, if it's dry, you got to make it wet, and if it's wet, you got to make it dry. Um, and like, yeah, that's like the gist I got from seeing that dermatologist that one time. I think I've seen a dermatologist twice in my life, maybe like 3 times, and every time it sucked. The first time I got the pityriasis rosea diagnosis, and they were just like, I don't know. You could buy this weird specialty bar soap, except that like all bar soap makes my skin like insanely irritable. Um, or you just like basically like do nothing and hope that eventually it goes away. And then like the other time was like, your skin sucks, but buy a salve. I don't know what to tell you. What do you think I am? Some sort of skin doctor? Um, we should visit Freedom. Nah, Freedom is like. I think Freedom is like placebo. I don't think Freedom did much of it. Like Freedom just like has the texture of like hair moisturizer. Like I feel like it's just. I think it's just like basic moisturizer. I think any moisturizer does the same thing, man. Do you use Dove soap? Nah, I use liquid soap. I've used liquid soap since they made. Honestly, I used liquid soap since before it was cool. I'm a liquid soap hipster. I literally used to shower with like liquid hand soap because like my skin hates bar soap. Any bar soap I've ever tried just like irritates all of my skin. There may be a good bar soap out there, but it's much like my reaction to like trying more fish. Like I am like very allergic to some kind of fish. Like it will like definitely make me like projectile vomit, and like it feels like there may be other consequences that I'm not seeing that like are worse than that, because it feels especially awful and it's like super serious. And it's like I'm sure that there exist fish that I'm not allergic to. That's not a fun game. I've had quite enough of see if the fish makes me violently ill before it was like clear that that was like the thing that was going on. But yeah, I've been using like liquid soap forever. I was a big fan of Old Spice body wash when that like first came out, and that was a game changer for someone like me. It's not that it was especially good, it was just that now I could just like have a normal toiletry that like people wouldn't think was insane to like shower with. And like that made me feel good because I'm really used to feeling self-conscious about everything. And Axe is awful. I mean, like, my body's a little particular about deodorant, but like not nearly as much as soap. I don't know. But like in recent years, I've been moving to some of the more niche, like quote unquote, like natural body washes, and like they are even like gentler and nicer. But to be honest, the only reason I ended up trying them is because like for some reason the local selection of body wash is like really weird and limited. Um, but yeah, I've been liking Native. I don't know. I end up using like a non-trivial amount of like girly toiletry products because like they tend to be a little gentler. What a cool guy, I know. It's shocking that I'm single, really. But yeah, like I was using for a while I was using what is it, Dr. Squatch, which like I, like their big thing for a long time was like fancy bar soap. But then like when like after I moved to Florida, like Old Spice body wash is insanely hard to find locally. Like there's a couple places you can go, but you have to like go out of your way for it, which is obviously not convenient. Um and so like I was liking that, but like I the weird thing about Dr. Squatch is like it was totally fine for like body, but like if I used it on my face, which like yeah, I'm a guy, so I don't have like a separate face wash. Everyone's horrified, whatever. But like if I would use it on my face, like my face hated it. It like like it would get like red and like irritated. Not enough to be like an allergic reaction or a problem, but like it really, really did not care for it. And then like when I needed to restock that, for some reason I couldn't find that at like either of the stores I'd been able to get it from for like the same like 2 week period or something. So I ended up buying Native because it was like had a similar scent and was like a liquid body wash, and like that one's relatively gentle on everything. It's like weirdly dense though, so I feel like I go through it kind of quickly. But like I've been liking it. It doesn't hurt that the when I first had to do this, they had like Christmas cookie scented body wash, and I'm like that's just perfect for a psychopath like me who likes sugar more than anything. To be clear, not eating it, but still just like the scent of a thing I would eat. Most of the scents I like are a thing that I would eat. I don't know if that's weird. Is that weird? Um, I think it says we used to make Axe bombs. Put a can of Axe in a Ziploc bag, close it, and hold the nozzle down until the bag is inflated. Put it somewhere it'll get stepped on or sat on. That is horrible. I think that does make you the problem. But all your soap at Lush because I'm bougie about soap. I think I'm supposed to know what Lush is. Is that I don't know, like I'm contemplating describing this thing that I don't think is an experience that people other than my mom and I have had. Which is that like, I've talked about Vegas trips. We've done Vegas trips multiple times in the past, usually in the summer, typically around my birthday. And for some reason, like multiple like shopping areas along the strip have these like fancy like shaped soaps. They like take nice soap and then like make it look like a cupcake. And I don't know why you would do that. Like I don't know who that's for. I mean, it's probably great for pranks, I guess, but like I don't know. I just like I mean, I guess here's the thing like yes, I buy like my soap to smell like something that I want to eat, but I don't eat it. I don't want to eat it. I have food for that. Um, I don't think I've ever actually stopped to smell the cupcake shaped soap to see if they also smell like cupcake, or as I had assumed, if they just smell like any number of soap fragrances that may or may not coincide with cupcake. They do sell a seasonal one in spring that's shaped like a bee and smells like honey. That actually sounds nice because honey is a thing that I want to eat. So it's like a smell that I buy stuff. Like I have like a gentle hand soap that is like milk and honey scented. There like who was it? Dove? I think it's a Dove liquid soap that like during the pandemic for like a year and a half or something, they had like a vanilla honey soap, and it was the best smell in the world. It smelled so good it actually improved my mental health. I would literally stop to smell the soap while washing my hands, and it made me feel better. Which the cookie scented body wash also did. The current stuff is fine, but it's not as good as cookie. So all of this is to say, depression is stupid. Hopefully we rally. We're in the window where we can still rally. We haven't lost the fight. We might lose the fight. There's a lot of stuff that's pissing me off right now. And now I gotta return this thing. One thing that I didn't mention, if you buy any Pokemon plush at all, like this won't come as a surprise to you. Um, he doesn't fit my poor Palisand. Um, but like the price on this is just merely inflated. So like this is it in its entire. It's got a little. Oh, I've dropped it. It's got a little strap on it, which is the thing to hang it on, and like you can disconnect this bottom part, so it's just a little bag. But like this costs like $46. And I'm fine paying like a little bit of a premium on this stuff. It's not like you're gonna get it anywhere else. But like this is just a specific instance where like is just not what I want it to be, and it makes me mad. But like now I have this extra step. I gotta return the thing, and that also makes me mad. I really hate doing it. Like honest to God, like one thing I truly hate about like the marketplace that is the internet is that like now to return something is a whole hoopla. Like I like sometimes it's actually kind of nice to just like drive to a store and do a return. But like having to like box up a thing and then like wait for it to ship over there for them to like wait several business days to give you credit, like it just sucks. Everything is worse than it used to be. Old Vasco shakes fisted cloud. Um Vasco, if this game doesn't end tonight, I'm going to, as the kids say, crash out. I mean, I gotta say, signs are looking good, but let's get to it. I think that's enough rambling. No one was interested in any part of this story, so you're all like super welcome for that. Let me gotta put this back on. Escape. Continue. Interacting with people and files and judgment force return us the worst. Yeah. There's a lot of bad things about returning. Okay, I sure hope that. Okay, great. That's looking promising. That doesn't look cursed like that one time where it was super cursed. But it would have been super interested, but missed most of it due to people making me do my job. No, I don't think so. I don't think you would have been interested in that. Love you, Palace Sand. He doesn't have a Squirtle behind him, but I'm still going to put him on the table. We have missing mail. You hate to see that. That sucks. God, my head is like so not in the game. I think we're almost like legally obligated to get through this game tonight, unless like the investigation of the side house, which I think can only take place at absolute maximum like 90 minutes of in-game time, is somehow the longest section of any video game that's ever happened. That does sound awful. I've not had to do anything that I think I would relate to that mystery, but like yeah, like lingerie returns, those sound bad. I feel like I've heard some like horror stories about things of that nature, of like people returning underwear that was what I'm going to really generously describe as obviously used, and just let you imagine what story I've heard. What's this fluff? Might be Flareon fluff? It's hard for me to say. It's also something stuck to my shirt. I don't know. Okay, so what are we doing? We're playing the Séance at Blake Manor. Are we going to finish it tonight? A resounding maybe is my answer to that. So what did we do last time? Well, if we take a look at the culprit, we have really learned 7 out of 9 possible facts about the culprit. It narrows it down to like not a significant amount. It's fine. So if we look at this culprit list, you'll notice something, or you may notice something, which is that we have like a whole bunch of like dark silhouettes, and then like this guy in the middle and these ones on the bottom. They're a sort of more vibrant color. The distinction between those two borders is that a dark color is a character whose like motivation and side quest we've sort of resolved to its fullest. If that's not the case, it is a character that like still has more we can like learn about them and or do. So last time we made like a truly staggering amount of progress. We had a little bit of a snowball effect of like, there were a couple characters that like we like set up to resolve their stuff before the last stream. There were some characters that like once we learned about one character's thing, they like gave us an item that like helped work one or two other characters. So we like got a lot done in a short period of time. With a non-zero amount of help from chat and a walkthrough, which I think is particularly difficult to navigate for a game like this. We ended up just sort of making sure that we had taken care of every character that could be taken care of before the next major event in the game, which is the Silent Dinner. I mention this because to me it is a point of significance. I was reflecting on this since last week, and I was like, gosh, you know, in some ways it feels like a cop-out for me to like try and like resolve every single character story when there was like stuff that I like wasn't gonna find on my own. But the thing of the matter is that we're on this journey together. We are on the cruise, and I think that the prevailing sense I got from chat was something similar to what I felt in my core, which was like, we've sunk so much time into this, and like genuinely a few of those things that like we didn't have access to were really kind of silly, were things that I think like an average player is likely to miss, and not like because I'm like smarter than them or something, but just because like the game is designed in such a way that it like really subtly hides something in a large map with like barely any clue as to where you would find it and things of that nature. But like I think the thing is, we've spent so much time on this game that we figure that we may as well just go for the gold, yeah? And even though I feel like I've said nothing of consequence in this recap, I feel like I've also covered more or less everything. In case you were absolutely brand new here, let's do a real quick rundown. Our player character is named Declan Ward. He's really boring and unenthusiastic about most things. Um, he was hired by, spoiler alert, the staff of Blake Manor to find one Evelyn Dean. She was a guest who was planning to attend the seance until she suddenly went missing under mysterious circumstances. The staff of the hotel was concerned that this would ruin the hotel's already sort of tarnished reputation and cost them their livelihood, as well as what little remained of the fortune of the Blake family. So they hired us to look into it. We'd been looking into it. They were not of tremendous help, which is something that has been vexing to a non-zero amount of people in chat, and I think that's a valid opinion to have. So, like, along the way, we had sort of discovered that the seance is pretty obviously dangerous. There is some, like, mystical force that just resides at this house that seems to have some, like, vague, malicious tendencies. It's like joining people in these, like, vague nightmares that seem like they're driving people inexorably to the seance. And then there's, the woman hosting the seance. There's the staff who I don't think we're all planning on going to it. And over time, as we've, like, interacted with some of these characters and learned their backstory and helped them, like, resolve some of the issues that they, like, came to the seance hoping that, like, a mystical element would help them resolve, and we kind of just, like, fixed their problems like some sort of magical therapist. Like, a lot of them either, like, found mystical ways to protect themselves so that they could safely attend the seance and maybe have our back when things go down and are dangerous. Or just decided that, like, no, I kind of, like, figured out the gap in my family tree. I'm gonna go get a coffee off-site and not die or something. And so if we look at the timetable, we are approaching the seance. We're at 7 p.m. on the final day of this weekend. The seance should be the final thing that happens in the in-game weekend. So what we're about to do is use one of the game's resources to skip ahead to 8 p.m. Go to the silent dinner where one of the staff is supposed to give us a key to access, like, the Blake's residential area of the manor. Investigate there a little bit, maybe interrogate, like, a 12-year-old boy who we have suspicions about. And then once we've done everything we can over there and maybe figured out the last few characters' life stories, then we're going to go to the hedge maze and see if a bunch of ghosts try to kill us, which seems pretty likely. Considering how much in-game time is left, it does feel likely that this will be the final installment of the game, but I don't know for sure. And if it's not, Zacula will be very cross. Game start. Let me go ahead and wait for the next hour. Let's burn 56 in-game minutes, and it would have been unconscionable 2 in-game days ago. Zacula, at some point I have to tell you about the idea I had to make this game even more enticing to you, which is based on a video game that I saw someone do coverage on I'd never heard of before this week. Alright, 8 p.m. I assume, like, everyone and their mother is at the dining room, except perhaps the servants. It seems more or less true. Let's go down to there. It is confirmed that Zacula will, as the kids say, crash out. Should we not complete our goal of attending a seance? This is the bar. I need the other hall. You don't play a game for like 6 days. Hey, buddy, you know what? I should probably save right now, even though I, like, technically just saved. Don't worry about it. So I want this one. I have my reasons.
Mr. Ward, will you be joining the silent dinner?
I think if you answer, like, verbally at all, you can't attend the silent dinner, right? This feels like it's some kind of trick or a test or something. It's like, yes, I will be attending the silent dinner. And he just scowls at you and, like, stabs you in the stomach. Yeah, I'll
A
attend the silent
reminder,
dinner.
sir, that the silent dinner is different to the other meals. Silent being the operative word here.
Do you think that they will serve silent green?
No talking, please. Unless you'd like to upset our guests. And they're unnerved by staring, so none of that.
But if I can't talk and I can't look, what's... I guess you just stare intently at your food. I'm not sure why this is a communal experience, to be honest.
Secondly, there will be no staff. We'll be having our own meal in the servants' hall. Though, of course, your food has already been prepared.
Is it buffet style?
Thirdly, I've been told to impress upon you that this is a deeply spiritual
I feel
event.
called out.
If you feel the need to leave, that's fine, but don't disturb anyone.
Okay, good. I'm allowed to leave, which is good because I'm supposed to leave and do that thing I described earlier. Is this a new voice actor? I don't think so. It's definitely possible that, like, the sort of read or the voice he's doing is a little different than before. It's hard for me to gauge because I can't hear anything out of the left side of my head, and it's pissing me off real bad. Now, Zach, do you really hate this man, or are you just saying that because we're having dinner from like 8 p.m. to 8:26 p.m. or something?
That should be all, if you'll allow me to show you to your seat.
Demolition offers 5 minutes into the dinner. This bread is amazing! Loudly do I appreciate this bread!
Ghosts?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be in his head, but like we've been here for like 5 seconds and it kind of sounds like we already said something. Yeah, I mean this is some real like Haunted Mansion the ride stuff, I suppose. I do have to say I don't like the way that the head of staff guy just like gave us that lecture, because like it really felt targeted. It really felt like that wasn't like everyone was being told this. He's like, by the way, you piece of crap, you human garbage. Everyone kind of thought I needed to give you personally a reminder not to talk at this silent dinner, because no one had confidence that you could figure out that silent dinner meant don't talk, idiot.
Lord save me. I cannot get used to this.
I mean, it's like the 4th time we've seen a ghost and like 2 of them had no consequences.
Laura? She returned for this, despite being freed. Mrs. Lau's husband.
I wouldn't recommend. I know we saw a photo of him,
Is
but
that
like...
Mary Blake? Why is she facing away?
This actually raises a really important question. So, like, Mary Blake is the wife of Jonathan Blake. Jonathan Blake being the current owner of Blake Manor. The whole reason that he wanted to throw tonight's seance was so that he could see her one more time. Now, the fact that she's giving him the ghost cold shoulder suggests that she's big mad at him. Or maybe that things are not what we've been told they are, and it was like a murder the whole time or some weird thing. But, like, can he not see her? Who here can see the ghosts? I have a hard time believing it's just us, because, like, I don't think we're special. We're Declan Ward. How is Declan still being like, is that a ghost? I mean, I'm a little with you on that one. I'm kind of with you on that. Keep saying that word incorrectly. I'm sorry. Which word was that? Continue. Which word did I say wrong? But that feels like a good excuse. So I forget the exact name of the game that I like watched someone do like an edited playthrough of. I think it was called something like Last Light or something. And some old like PS2 game or something. It was like made in Japan, and like the game was played entirely by like speaking into a microphone in English to like direct a character what to do. And it was a really peculiar thing because it was like you had to speak English to play the game, but it was made in Japan. But like apparently it just like wasn't tested. So like it seemed like nobody had like a good response rate of people like having success of the game recognizing the thing they were saying. And while I was watching that, it gave me the brilliant idea with all the like insane like casual Gaelic drops in this game. Like, can you imagine like the Séance of Blake Manor, but replace the dialogue system with I have to verbally and like correctly pronounce the words in order for the game to recognize that I'm asking someone about the DIDN, which, for the record, is not how that's pronounced. Oh, that's right, the sea ants. The one who's throwing the sea ants. She does pronounce the word sea ants. And I did know what you were referring to, but I did just want to provoke everyone in chat to saying sea ants, which worked. Also, Mystery did a fun little thing by showing a tidal wave emoji and a big ant emoji, and I love it. I love it a lot. Looks like Aaron is having fun. Well, you know, they didn't want to extend the name out too long, but it is the Silent and Miserable Dinner.
Alexander Quinn? I suppose I shouldn't stare. Varley said it upsets them.
Was he talking about the ghosts? I thought he was talking about the people.
Then, I suppose, all there is to do is eat.
It's gonna be something upsetting, isn't it?
What is this?
What? Okay, I have multiple questions about this.
Birthday?
What a great time for a little dance.
Ole!
So we were told that like during the dinner, Joyce, the like maid, was going to come deliver us the key that she had to get like between 8 and 8:30 or something. I feel like she was actually reasonably specific about the time and method during which this had to happen. And instead of any of that, we just weren't served any food and were handed a key immediately. But like, what if I did have to eat? If I'm gonna like stop the seance from blowing up the house or whatever? Just hinting at cannibalism. No, although I watched a different video of someone playing a game that, like an old adventure game I played that's like borderline unplayable now that I had forgotten about. That does have like a really funny casual incidence of cannibalism in it that is like maybe not intent. It's weird. It's really stupid and weird. But okay, I guess we just have the key and no dinner.
There is a key here.
Which would you rather have? One, like 0 keys, 1 dinner, or 0 dinner, 1 keys?
The note reads, Blake residence now. Mrs. Joyce, I assume. Perhaps it's a good time to investigate, since the Marquess and most of the guests appear to be here.
It is, however, inarguably conspicuous for us to do this, even if it is allowed. Mr. Ward has a world of shushing coming his way. That does feel like the way it should be. Okay, so I need to go to the... I think I have to go around to the other hallway. Oh, is that what this door is? The residence? Yeah, okay. I'm going to do a quick save here. Got a lot of butterflies and stuff. Anyways, Echo, what do you think of my idea for like voice-activated Séance of Blake Manor? I do feel like it would make for some incredible like streamer rage bait. Are you sure? There is less than 1 hour to the seance. Entering the Blake residence is the point of no return. Are you confident in the knowledge you have gained about the culprit and the suspects thus far? See, this is a weird question to ask in a vacuum, because it would be really hard for you to know if you knew enough. And even for example, like, we know thanks to Sarah's strong encouragement from the end of the last stream that, like, one of the people that we haven't addressed is like a weird exception, even though he is like a regular guest at the house like everyone else. He can't be like resolved before the seance, so like it feels like you could easily fall into this trap. But also, like, does that mean I get unlimited time inside the manor? If it's like a point of no return, does it function different? I don't know. Echo says, I think voice activated Seance of Blake Manor would drive me into the funny farm. So you would enjoy it because you would be having laughs at the funny farm. Am I understanding correctly? Anyway, proceed. I've like saved 3 separate times and also have good authority that it's okay. Well, I have some news. The time's a little busted, and the day is unknown. What's going on in here? It's all boarded up? Mrs. Joyce was right. Things are not right here. Taking this really well. Look at the painting. Defaced family portrait. I like the arbor facing the wrong way. That's a great little touch of like, it's not the scariest thing I can imagine, but it's definitely unsettling. Let me look at this debris. Drafts of invites for a handful of participants. Only O'Finn, Dean, and Montavani's names are here. That mostly tracks, but is Montavani the third descendant of the Irish gods? I don't care about this test. Let me look at these papers. The scrawlings on them are largely indecipherable, and many pages are ruined from liquid being spilt on them. Gather mystics. Seance will channel their life energy. Psychic jolt. But is psychic jolt heightened to like 3rd rank or something? No. Pathfinder joke. When the veil is at its thinnest, open the portal, wake the god from its sleep. Each letter S has been drawn over in red ink. Is it with the cool S? What state of mind was he in? What state of mind is he in? I'll do you one better. Why is Gamor? Spooky elevator's probably locked, huh? This must be to allow Walter Blake to move between floors. This feels very... Is it Kathy Rain 1 that had the elevator in it? I feel like that was Kathy Rain 1. Maybe it was both of them. Maybe they both had the weird elevator? Portrait of the Blake family. There's another one of these in the atrium, if I remember correctly. They look quite similar. You mean the family? Yeah, they're a little related. I do like how spooky it is over here. Seems bad for my health, though. Why are there gates in here? And why are they locked? Was Kathy Rain one that had the weird elevator? You know what I'm going... Zacula gets me. Whoever painted that portrait disliked the family. I don't know, man. It's like Gothic Irish times. I think that's just what family portraits look like. It's like one of the few jokes I actually really liked in A Million Ways to Die in the West, which was like everyone like going out of their way to look really stoic in photographs, and like, has anyone ever tried smiling? I heard that someone died trying to smile. I feel like I'm actually in like the Blueprints laboratory. Gothic Irish Times is the name of my new theme park. What a coincidence! It's my favorite. What's the name of that thing? Font profile. Very tired. Look at this scroll. Every time I do it makes me lol. Work on distilling power from blood. The table of elements. Periodic table with the names, abbreviations, and details of the element. I don't see any details. That's evidence? Great. Look at papers. Research for various contraptions like the voltaic battery in the telegraph room. This is not an important scroll. Green is not a creative color. Look at these notes. Schematics for some kind of machine that harnesses lightning to some end. I don't know. Signed Mary Shelley. Esoteric book. This book seems to be part science, part occult. An attempt to marry the two? Ooh. Uh-oh. Let me go ahead and look at weird chart. I don't understand the text as a whole, but some parts of this grid have been circled. I like how that's like kind of the absence of any kind of evidence. Like, I don't get this at all, but I see some circles, so I did good, yeah? Can't begin to imagine what this represents. Whatever meaning this may have, it's lost on me. I've observed 3 things I don't understand. Progress. Wait, is there phrenology in there? I didn't notice it. I'm not an expert. Let me look at jars. Jars full of human organs and animals preserved in strange fluid. Records of experiments. I am not knowledgeable enough to wholly make sense of them, but they seem unorthodox. They seem most ungood. Let me look at these scrolls. Ancient dark magic, yada yada. Look at these notes. The dilution of generations. A smear would not be enough to open the gate. Not a drop could be wasted to ensure success. Then a note. The blood must be fresh. They cannot perish before exsanguination. Okay, I gotcha. I understand what you're saying. Records. Financials, including land and other assets. Books written in many languages, none of which I can read, including English. I can't read! Books on magic and fringe sciences. A very different selection to the library in the hotel. Oh, hang on. I can use the phrenology bust. Phrenology or bust. Let me go ahead and look at these chalkboards. The gate is sealed by 3 locks, each requiring the blood of a Milesian who locked it. Oh, that's bad. That's not good. Looks to be a sort of lineage map. It starts with 3 names from long ago. Aberfin, Amergin, and Aramon. It works its way down, then, to modern times. At the bottom, many names are struck out, but 2 are circled. Evelyn Dean and Domnall Finn. The 3rd lineage has been erased after the name Grainy Amergin. See, this is exactly what I was talking about before. Wouldn't this game be super good and playable and entertaining if in order to advance I had to be able to correctly pronounce that at all? No hypothesis yet? Okay. It's easy for you to say. I assure you it's not. Records circled. Guys, it turns out I'm not like I'm not a phrenologist. I don't know how to do phrenology. Look at it. A scientific bust. I'm a fan. The head is cover in many segments, each with letters on them. They seem to press inwards. Oh, so the letters correspond to the elements, but how do I know what elements I want? Is that something in the records? This isn't... The existence of a 3rd bloodline isn't a new clue. There's like a limited number of people who I think it could be. And I just had the really unfortunate realization that like the 3rd one might be us, which I don't love. Psycho says, I'm also illiterate. I dictate all Twitch chat messages to Dickensian British orphan who I pay 1 penny per week. It's a good gig if you can get it. Not even a halfpenny, like a full penny. I feel like I'm missing something that like correlates these ideas that I understand in the abstract into an actual workable solution. There must be a code here, but what buttons and in what order? Well, it's not enough letters for hog, turd, or butthole. If there was an element that was just the letter T, I think I could spell latte. Do you have a phrenology bus in your living room, Mystery? Do you, like, know anything about phrenology? I feel like this is, like, meant to be obvious. But, like, again, I think I'm just, like, missing something that bridges the ideas together. Like, I get the general idea. Ooh, let me look at this. I don't care at all. Looked at some records and books and are you lookable? Skull friend? Mr. Skullhead? Fancy bottles? Yeah, I don't think I'm spelling any part of that with, like, at maximum 6 letters, huh? I don't disagree with you, Zagula. I mean, phrenology is, like, not remotely a real science that was mostly based on, like, racist concepts. That is my understanding. They would just be like, ah, your head shape means you're a dum-dum. That you're not as good as other people. It's stupid. I'm gonna touch these statues. But turn to face the walls. I know. Isn't it cool? Oh, look at this skull. Is this fresh? Fresh skulls! Get your fresh skulls! Statues have been blindfolded. Somebody did not want anyone watching them. Look at this one. Did you try Blake on the skull? That is actually what I was just thinking of doing with all the crossed out faces. I'm not convinced of that, but the trick is like, it's like a specific subset of combinations of letters, and I haven't internalized all of them, and I don't think Blake is a possibility. I would need either B by itself or BL. I don't believe I have either of those. Is there B? I see LA. Is KE something? Nah, I don't think so. Yeah, ominous noises building. I can't tell. I only got the one ear. Rusty. like, the impression I get... I really just think I'm... Does the math have something to do with it? I don't really have, like, a number for this, do I? Oh, I have this. Okay, hold on. 74 is W. Okay. $53 is I. W-I. Weird. 26. It spells wife. It spells wife. That wouldn't have been my guess at all. That would not have been it. Man's got his priorities straight, though. Occult wife, occult life, after all. Is that what we're doing? I know Effie is on here. Somewhere. I remember. There it is. Are the floorboards shaking? Yeah, that looked really I figured there was like a door back there for sure. Hidden door. Why is this coded in a periodic table? It's a safeguard. People who like puzzles like to leave clues around so that someone could feasibly solve it, but it's not supposed to be so obvious that it does get solved. I don't know. This is a thing I think, but only because I play adventure games. I don't actually like do this with stuff in my life. And I can't tell if that's normal or weird. Is this a shrine to Mary Blake? I don't think I should touch anything in here. Ooh. Maybe I should touch everything in here. Just kidding. That's not gonna happen. You said you like escape. I do. I was just saying, like, I don't... The point I was making is that, like, I don't actually, like, keep a safe in my house and then, like, keep, like, a bookshelf of coded entries that, like, spell out the combination to the lock. Or, like, do that stupid thing from the stables in this game where it's sort of, like, on the wall that, like, directly faces the safe. You just, like, carve it a little bit higher than someone's normally gonna look. No riddle. I didn't say no riddles. I'm just saying they don't, like, lead to anything useful. It just sort of, like, indicates another place where I have an enormous bin full of plush animals and leave you to scratch your head. The stables code thing was egregious. I'm glad that wasn't just me because that really peeved me. Oh. Oh wait, I have that eagle vision my ancestors gave me. Yeah, okay. I don't actually think I can do anything other than leave, but I just wanted to be sure there wasn't like a secret Squirtle in here. I mean, I like the vibe of this. This is very, like, escape room of, like...
Shall we sculpt some flesh friends, then?
There's a bunch of, like, locked off places and you, like, maneuver around them. This is really stupid. I'm gonna level with you. I wanted to play the whole Zero Escape game series on stream. It's like a visual novel series with a bunch of escape games in it. And some of that will make me mad because some of those puzzles are actively pretty bad. But I've kind of wanted to wait until, like, I felt like I had, like, a nice, like, properly decorated stream room to do it. If you're ever wondering why, I did play the first one a few years ago. And if I revisit and do all of them, I might just start with 999 again because it's much shorter than the other two. And there's people who haven't seen it, and a lot of people consider it the best one. But like, I don't know. I just kind of want it to look nice. I'm just not that good at it. Wait for the weeping angels to activate. You know it's coming. I mean, I feel like I should worry that the ghost is where I was. Blake history. An account stating that once he had taken the fort here, Edward Blake forced himself on the chieftain's daughter. Great, love, cool. Her name was Graini Ammirgan, the same lady from the chalkboard, and she bore him a son. Thus was the Blake line carried on, intertwined with the people of this place. There is no record of what happened to her after the birth. The letter P has been scrawled across the page in red ink. SP, sp. Seems to map the Blake lineage as far back as Edward Blake, the man who built this place and planted his family here. It looks like one branch of the family has been erased. I cannot make out any names, but from this, they would be cousins of the Marquess. That angel has a skull. Clue, nothing in here. Remove lens cap? Should I worry about that? Simple projector with the lens cap still on, but it doesn't have any slides. This is very escape roomy. Just light. Am I missing something? Well, I mean, for one, it looks like there's like a triangle sort of etched in the wall. It's not just... You can clearly see like gouges in the wall. It's not just the wall, you goof. Secondly, if we put a slide in there, something will happen. Whatever. Big shadow puppet. Do you think shadow puppets are like flesh friends? Are those like related concepts? What is a Marquess? He's like a guy who like does unsavory things with a chieftain's daughter and then makes like cursed offspring that like saved the Irish gods from Tiernanog or something. This is a note listing all of the Blake family birth records with all the names marked off but two. Jonathan Blake and Walter Blake. Across the page is scrawled, "It must be." Loose garbage on a chair. Books on Irish mythology, magic, and the old ways. Sections on Tir na Nog have been circled. That's the land of eternal youth, the Irish afterlife. Zacco has, of course, asked on cue from Shadowrun. No, it's the land of eternal youth, the Irish afterlife. From Shadowrun. Scrolled across this. We will send that thing through the portal in exchange for Mary. Oh. Why is been repeatedly circled in red ink. So we're up to spy? That's a choice. The fact that we're just getting, like, these goofy Sesame Street style clues is really something. Letter of the day is S. Look at this safe. There could be something interesting in here. I mean, that's kind of how stuff works, yeah. Mattress. Has Blake been sleeping here? You know, I really should have asked chat what they thought was going to be on the other side of the locked door before we came here. But, like, keep it real with me, chat. Is this remotely close to what you thought was going to be going on over here? Books, mattress, safe. Still only goes up to 39. So like the 67 or whatever that spelled out wife can't be it. I gotta figure out something with the projector. Oh, hang on. It says 1884. You think there's any chance in the world that's like the combination of the save? That'd be really dumb, huh? So it'd be like 1884? Just the way it would like fit into the numbering scheme. And then like all the way back around to 8, It was, in fact, worth a try. However, no. So, I don't think I've, like, developed any new hypotheses that would, like, let me... Boy, I sure have learned a lot over here, huh? Investigate the residence, find the safe code. I know what I should do. I should go talk to that ghost, because I can get back there in theory. I'm sure it's going to be the Okiora Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. Sagula, it makes me really happy that you appreciate that joke as much as I do. There is, like, no location in any video game that's as funny to me as the Okiora Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse. To the point that, like, there is a cold storage warehouse somewhere near me, and every time I drive by, it makes me smile, even though it's just, like, a place to store cold things, and it's not a place where someone would be dressed in a polar bear outfit to buzzsaw someone to death. It's really interesting that I get that same warning, presumably, every time I come in here. The ghost went away. Which is a problem because I don't know what to do. I'm sure this near empty bottle is critical evidence. Can I hide under the desk? Wait a minute. I've had a dumb thought. Give me a second. Okay. What am I looking for? S is 16, P is 15, Y is 39. That doesn't work though, right? Not in the order of the way you would spell those letters, right? Left is 16. I guess you could. 16. Wait. Ask, have you ever played a TTRPG? If so, what was the last one you played? I've played Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 and 5th edition. I have also played a little bit of Pathfinder 1st edition. I once requested for Christmas Blades in the Dark and have never played it. And I recently bought a Starfinder 2nd edition rulebook because I've been trying to make fetch happen. With the number combination from the word wife work, it would not, because one of those was like 67, wasn't it? I mean, like 50, like no number over 39 can apply as part of the combination. So unfortunately, wife doesn't work. All the letters in spy fit, but I'm skeptical of 16, 15, 39. That's cool. Zachary says, I don't play TTRPGs. I do want the Mork Ford rulebook just because the art is good. That game seems cool. Blades is one of the TTRPGs we're likely going to play in the server soon. It's nice and streamlined. It's a good, well thought out system. It's like flexible enough to like do lots of different things. I think it's just important that like, because it's so flexible, you want the group to be on the same page about it, maybe even more so than other, like something like Dungeons and Dragons has kind of like a baseline of what you expect the vibe to be. So this doesn't work on face value, right? So we need to go... 16. I mean, I guess I could arguably just go all the way around the dial, although that seems insane. 16, 15, 39. Oh my god, that was actually right. That seemed insane. That's escape room trading. That felt like a big logical leap, to be honest with you. Take safe contents. A pile of projector slides. This actually feels extremely Virtue's Last Reward. A safe full of things to help you get out of a room. And this stone with a hole carved in the centre. Why would it be in this safe? The note says, these hag stones will keep us safe during the sea ants. Make sure Walter has one. I may take one too. Alright, but then what the slides be doing? Stars? More of an HBO guy myself. Is there a pattern hiding among the stars? I'll adjust the dials and see if a solution will make itself clear. Now, there have been some, like, proper puzzles in this game, but it's kind of wild to me the density at which they're occurring now when they were really sparse throughout a fairly long game before. It's really interesting. Saga says, my understanding of the basic concept of Morgborg, and I know that's not the correct way to pronounce it, but, like, you've already heard me do Gaelic, so we're just sticking with the way it's written because it just works better in my head. But the basic concept of Morgborg is the world is literally ending. There's literally nothing you can do about it. You are definitely going to die horribly. That's more or less correct, yeah. I don't know a ton about Morgborg, but I do know a little. And, like, yeah, it's like, very grimdark in a way that I feel like would appeal to you, Zacula. And, like, it's very much sort of, like... I mean, one of the things I think is really funny about it, I mean, I like a game that lets you, like, roll on tables, and that game, like, your character creation is, like, all rolling on tables, but, like, instead of being like, oh, you get, like, cool armor, or, like, an enchanted sword, it's like, you get a stick, or if you're really lucky, you get, like, a whole donkey. But, like, yeah, it's just sort of, like, you start with, like, basically nothing, you have, like, no hit points, you're not, like, super powerful. Basically anything kills you. Basically everything you encounter can kill you. And it's like there's some specific lore to it where it's like basically like all the it's like some like world with like multiple gods in it and they like all died or they all left or something and now like the world just like no hope of surviving without them. Now, is that what we're doing? We're definitely making some sort of rune shape here, huh? I mean, we've never needed something like physically projected on a wall before to do a rune. We've definitely done it for no reason at all. This does make it seem even weirder to me that like there's just these obvious gouge marks in the form of a triangle. But also, whoever set this up clearly doesn't understand how shadow works, because like if I needed the light to be here, then to stand here to etch the rune, like I wouldn't be able to see it anymore. A second candle exploded mystery? That's outrageous. Truly outrageous. You need to burn some sage and like whisper friendly songs to the ghosts. Use it. Doop, 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 doop. I have like a bunch of sigils I've never used, right? Like 5 of them or something? Like 4 or 5 sigils that I've like learned that I've never used. It's clear to me I don't actually understand how any of these rune sigil things work at all. I hadn't expected that. What are you hiding, Marquess? Multiple question marks, enter, one-time unit? I seem to be in an empty closet. I shouldn't touch anything. And the wall behind me is gone. There's no going back. I'll be honest though, this actually, it's not what I expected from the game up to this point, but this is a lot more like what I expected this game to be. Somebody is coming. I hope I'm not still in the room when it happens.
My boy, it is time.
So, have we technically actually seen Walter Blake before? Or is he a pile of bones? Do you think? Depression, thank you for gifting a sub to Mystery. Ooh, 6 months of sub to Mystery. That must be what triggered the old hype train. Wasn't sure about that.
I know this is hard for you. But think of your mother. Your sacrifice will bring her back to us. And bring you back to me. Your chair gone. Your voice restored.
So, the event was so traumatic that the child was confined to a wheelchair, which I don't think we explicitly knew. I don't remember that being something we knew. Staff did sort of imply that the boy was changed and, like, withdrawn. But, like, yeah, so now the dad is saying that he wants to kill the son because he thinks the ritual will, like, open the ghost portal for all the dead family to come back.
You will not be dead for long. I promise.
Sorry to interrupt, sirs. They're ready for you at the seance.
Yes, of course.
What on earth?
Oh, young master, you look so smart.
Okay. What do we make of that? What do you all think we make of that, huh? So the son isn't real, or maybe he's like already a ghost haunting them? But if that's true, then the son couldn't be a sacrifice to open the portal, which would mean the dad would have to do it, but like, who's gonna make him do that if he wants to be around to use the portal to make them? I mean, I get that, you know, the staff has been under the hive mind influence of some force in the house. I don't know if it's actually Walter Blake, the boy himself, or if that force is like masquerading as the boy being around to influence them more easily or something.
His mother would be so proud.
She will be, yes. We had best get moving. Time, as they say, waits for no man.
The chair was empty, but both the Marquez and the housekeeper spoke as if it wasn't. Were they under another spell? Is Walter Blake even real? Oh, he must be. I've seen his portraits in the manor.
That's a weird conclusion to draw. Just because you've seen portraits of him doesn't mean that he currently still exists. He was part of an accident that killed the lady. Just because he ever existed doesn't mean that he exists, like, now. Hang on. Storybook with a rabbit on it. Tales of a little white rabbit and the value of being kind. I can't imagine it's ever been read. Is that an editorial? Collection of short stories for small children, each imparting a biblical lesson. Looks completely untouched, yet it's lying on the floor as if it's just been read. Maybe it's a poltergeist? Spotless alphabet blocks arranged to spell the word God in a wheelbarrow that looks good as new. Don't you mean God as new? Why is Twitch sending me push notifications for your stream while I'm literally watching your stream? Twitch isn't alright, I think is the answer to that. Stuffed bear that looks as though it's never had the joy of being held. Same, brother. Rocking horse. Its polish isn't even scratched. He's really obsessed with the collector's value of these objects. These meals are untouched and cold, but they're fresh, prepared earlier today. Painting of Mary Blake. Strewn about as if they'd been used, but absolutely pristine toys. Ooh, what's going on over here? Jack in the Box. Not a Charlie in the Box. Who would want that? Stiff with disuse. Relatable. Toy soldier in mint condition. Don't think it's that. She's really hung up on this. Stories about a little boy's adventure on the hunt for long lost treasure. No indication it's been opened. Children's book about a little girl who lives with her grandfather in the mountains. Pages are stuck together like it's brand new. Why does this guy know what all the stories are about without opening them or having read them? Third member of American Pickers. God, I'm so good. Okay, so I came from here, and it seems heavily implied that they didn't notice that I was just, like, in this closet, which is weirder, I think, than some of these other details. Look at the elevator. The portrait. I wonder. Look at it.
The young master is here, but... No. Wait. This paint is different. It's fresher. Newer. Somebody has added him to the picture and altered the mother's arms to hold him. He isn't real. He is a fabrication that the Marquess and the staff seem to believe is real. But why?
Apparently, it was the only important thing because that's already triggered a hypothesis. Jonathan Blake looks younger and more content. There's a glint of something missing from his expression. Hunger, sorrow, flatulence? Hard to say. What's the third here? Her expression is unhappy. Oh my god, same. Okay, hold on. I have a hypothesis about the Blake residence. Jonathan Blake intends to sacrifice his son to resurrect his wife, but Walter Blake isn't real.
Walter Blake seems to be a shared hallucination between at least the staff and the Marquess.
Oh, look at that. We all got a new hype train emote that is a cat turning into a horrible monster under a flashlight. I like it. It feels thematically
But the
appropriate.
paintings of him. He has been freshly painted in over original paintings. It's a very good forgery. I only realized when I knew to look for it. How can that be?
The images are torn from other pictures. There was a real Walter Blake who's now gone. The culprit is a skilled painter. The culprit hired artists. I feel like there was a real Walter Blake. He's just not real now. We're using the word real weird, like the old 80s cartoon Silverhawks, where all the characters were basically cyborgs, but the theme song said they were partly metal, partly real, which implies that metal isn't real.
Perhaps. But even if this were the case, I'm not sure how it would help the investigation.
Okay, also a false premise, because just because you learn something in the course of an investigation doesn't mean that it actually helps anything? Oh, I see. We're going for the culprit as a skilled painter because we want artistic skill to matter?
This level of replication, not just here, but in all the portraits, suggests the culprit is an expert artist.
But again, this feels like a wildly false premise because, like, just because the Blake family had someone forge a little boy into their family tree and thus into all the paintings on the estate doesn't mean that the same person who did that kidnapped Evelyn Dean. You can commission an artist and not be a criminal. I promise. I do it with some regularity. The crime, I mean. What were we talking about?
I have picked up another fact about the culprit. I wonder if there's anyone I could eliminate as a result. And if not, what investigating can I do to allow me to learn some useful facts about the suspect?
Mystery solved. Walter Blake is not real. A skilled painter has been adding him to paintings. Walter Blake cannot be saved. Walter Blake is not a real boy, but some form of mass hallucination that the Marquess and the staff are experiencing. You did it! You can't save the child! Hooray! What are we doing here? This ritual. It doesn't seem like anyone is going to survive. It's also my last chance to find and save Evelyn Dean. I need to get out there and stop it. Do we? Do we need to? Okay, mysteries. This guy's a terrible artist, right? Because he's the oldest man alive, and he may also not technically be alive. Yeah, so he can be eliminated. Don't know about you. I mean, considering that Walter Blake is not real, it seems unlikely that he, a fictional 12-year-old boy, kidnapped Evelyn Dean. This guy's like a super good art. Like, it's pretty clear to me that we're pointing to Coventry for various reasons. I still need like one more fact to be able to like narrow it down, I guess, between him and Blake. Have we eliminated literally everyone else? Technically we haven't eliminated Mantovani, but like I don't think that's it. Like it says, if I can form a hypothesis, I feel so much hatred in my heart. I don't know why you would be filled with rage over such a reasonable thing to hate. I like that it just like is 9 when you leave out of like pure contrivance. There's no real explanation for why there's like a time warp in the Blake residence. It's just fine, but like it's just weird that it does that, in my opinion. Lost track of time. The sea ants will be starting soon. I need to get out to the hedge maze and put a stop to this before it's too late. It's implied I went over there, I guess. I think there's some ominous chanting, but again, my left ear's not hearing so good, so I'm not 100% on that. That's probably not ominous though, right? Does it not seem weird to anyone else? Walter's wheelchair, they wheeled it out this far, then abandoned it. What does Blake think is happening here? It's interesting that it makes like 5 minutes pass on the way to get here. The orcs are coming. Meat's back on the silent dinner menu, boys!
The circle is sealed. We call now upon the spirits.
Looks like they've begun. It's interesting for them to have blocked off the maze. That's not what I thought we'd be doing here. that I can still look at Evelyn Dean's stupid shoe. I guess I can't interact with it, but... There's an empty space here. There's... Declan Ward, I have some news for you. There's quite a few empty spaces. We did convince a lot of people to just, like, watch whatever movies on TNT this evening. It's for me. It's waiting for me. There are many circles like it, but this one's my own. But, like, for real, there's, like, a bunch of empty circles. It's weird to declare that that one in particular is yours.
To come forth, be witnessed by us, be heard by us. Age posco,
Gesundheit.
nego te recusare.
I don't think you can say that, even in 1897. Ah! Is my circle supposed to be on fire? Miss Mantovani! My circle! Is the circle really sealed? Looks like it's wide open. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. Luckily, I have like a hagstone, so I don't think I'm gonna die. I was just gonna say, I feel like there's gonna be some like obvious point during this exchange where like anyone who's not magically protected gets completely obliterated. But like, who actually died? Because didn't we... Shouldn't everyone be fine? Can't be good for his shoes. Probably not. I'm alive. I'm okay. Just a little slimy. I'm still... Oh, I guess she died. The others? I don't know. Seance disaster. I mean, I guess you're not wrong. She did know she was gonna die. I will say, I doubt she saw herself going out like that, though. Apprehend the suspect. Alright, good luck, buddy. The hedge maze is a ruin. People are dead. Well, like, person is dead. Another, like, arbitrary amount of time has passed. Look at the bones! She's dead, Jim. Miss Mantovani's dead. Yeah, she died like she died as she lived, being struck by horrible eldritch lightning. Oh,
What are those things? Are they Fae?
Maybe they're the Tuatha De Danann? I've kind of lost track of all that. Probably shouldn't. I look forward to the death screen that's loading right now. You failed. Why would you go up and touch them? I mean, for the love of God, why would you do it? Seriously, why? What would inspire you to do that? As a result of your actions, 19 of the people in the manor survived. How about Hedge Maze autosave? I don't know when this was. Does this mean you've been evicted from the hotel? I mean, I do feel like it should explicitly say that, but like, I have to assume. That would be a really funny death screen if they all just said that and it's just like, you were cut in half by a Fey monstrosity. You've been evicted from Blake Manor. You're not allowed to be two halves of a person in Blake Manor. It really doesn't like transitioning from like she died to like having control of the game again. It's so weird that it like turns you that way. So I think I need to like look at them.
What?
Is there like an evidence? But then like I think the camera wanted me to go this way. Oh, something broke through the wall. Should I touch him again? Maybe I'll go a different way. Let's look at that. Let's not go to Camel. How about we call the place I'm going Poplars?
energy goes this way. But how?
What a profoundly, strangely phrased question that feels like it accomplishes nothing. The energy, like, goes this way, but, like, how, man? Magnets, how do they work? Ah, sick, we became a pirate.
My head.
Speak your name to enter.
You're not serious. That's not the voice you chose for the, like, magical guardian of the wall to, like, bid you to enter the magical realm. Is like a grade school teacher doing, like, story time. Hey, fee, fi, fo, fum, or whatever. We gotta keep it low key because something's trying to eat us or something.
Wants the culprit's name. But who?
This guy. I think so. He's like a painter or whatever.
Simon.
This is an insanely bad security system. I mean, I get that the video game wants this to be the point at which I have to, like, name the culprit. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think, in hindsight, I think this whole search for the culprit is a little ridiculous. But maybe we could touch more on that later. But, like, literally just, like, who goes there? It's me, the bad guy. Very good, come on in. Just keep doing some saves. Yeah, how you liking the sea ants, everyone? Are they to your liking? Guess I'll pull the lever. We are on the rails, everybody. Do I need the lamp? No? Okay. Okay, I love you. Bye-bye, the entire outside world. I wonder if time still matters. Here lies Norman Blake. Died in Church Cave-In, 1805 to 1836. Where it says... where it says... buried as he lived, comma, alone, is scratched over frantically. Oh, that's gonna be me, huh? Alright, fair enough. Okay, so, like, what? So, I guess the idea is that this guy is using magic to trick the Blakes into funding the seance? And this guy just, he's like the villain in every, like, Eldritch horror story where he's like, it just seems to make perfect sense to me, the crazy guy, that we should let the Elder Gods rule the world and nothing bad can happen, particularly to me. So, like, he painted Walter Blake and then used magic to make everybody think that Walter Blake was real and important. And then they made the seance happen at this place that happens to be like a thin spot in the barrier between worlds because he wants the Fae to be able to go to Tir Nanog, parentheses, from Shadowrun. Various paintings of Walter Blake that Coventry must have discarded for whatever mistakes he feared people would see through. Reference photograph is Henry Blake, 1840. So, it does suggest that there is something I could have learned that would have given me one more fact about the culprit. Because it doesn't seem to make very much sense for me to, like, learn another thing about the culprit now. I would have to guess that that information would come from researching the staff, and I don't know how to do that. I really don't. The game gave me nothing. Apprehend the suspect. Yeah, good luck, buddy. We got going on over here? A note. Some rough notes. Oh, Finn recognized me. After all these years, he was only a child when I visited his camp seeking their wisdom. Even my own flesh and blood didn't know me. In hindsight, I was probably memorable enough, a wealthy outsider coming to ask of their god. I shouldn't have panicked and attacked him, though. That was risky. God, but what if he outed me? Oh, and he was gay, too? Thankfully, I played in those catacombs as a lad, and I know all their secrets. My back is in agony today for it. I have taken most of a bottle to ease the pain. By tonight, back troubles will be a future problem. This time I will care better for my joints. Everyone says that. The notes on the ritual I found under Miss Dean's bed. Mr. O'Finn's, too. Pile of papers.
A collection of papers, a birth certificate, and a journal.
Why are you mad, Zach? You said you liked the joke. Am I supposed to avoid making the joke you love so much?
It's the birth certificate of a Henry Blake, who seems to be the older cousin of Jonathan Blake, the actual heir to the title and lands here. His father died when he was still a young lad. Rather than pass the title and lands to Henry, an attempt was made on his life by Jonathan Blake's father. Henry's mother took him and fled. She died soon after, leaving him alone in the world. All he had were his father's notes, the notes that resulted in his death, among them the sigil. He spent much of his life studying the occult to make sense of the sigil.
Go to the Denny's as long as it's not haunted. I don't think they usually... I mean, like, Yelp might help with that, but, like, I don't think that the, like, Denny's locator normally tells you which ones are haunted demolition.
And eventually, much older, he returned to the manor, armed with the understanding of the ground's secrets. He had adopted the identity of Simon Coventry, a man who had also recently lost his wife.
And whose initials he definitely remembered for sure.
Over this, he bonded with the Marquess, and used that to gain the access he needed to search the grounds. He found the chamber his father had died opening, and was able to get inside. That is where he discovered Guivnu, locked in a deep sleep.
Do you like that, as in all mediocre mysteries, like someone just left a diary that explains all of the, like, plot holes or, like, not/barely explained elements of the story that make the timeline work?
The god's dreams already colored by the events happening around him. Coventry took advantage of this through prayer and something he calls his Shrine of Images.
Most people call them movies.
And Guivnu's dreams reshaped the minds of everyone around him into thinking there was a Walter Blake who's been crippled in the accident that killed his mother. Because to unlock the gate he needs Blake blood. It says here they are the last of the third Milesian bloodline. The Marquess will kill himself, thinking he both kills and frees his son. The god's dream can't force anyone to act outside of their interest. He couldn't be made to kill himself, but he could be tricked into doing it for the right reason.
I feel like we're really straining that definition. Because, like, as far as we know, he doesn't have, like, an actual son. So, like, motivating him to kill himself on behalf of a person who doesn't exist feels like, to me, is definitely in the ballpark of, like, making him do something that's, like, outside of his self-interest or whatever. But, like, also is confusing because, like, as outlined previously, he expects the son to die. So, like, how does that result in him willingly killing himself or whatever?
Then with Blake gone and the god freed, Coventry will ask for his reward, to have his youth returned.
Then he'll have this, like, washed up hotel to call his own, and the end of days will occur.
He will then take his place as the heir in the form of Walter Blake, the son with paintings, documents, and mesmerized staff to vouch for him as the next in line to the title.
Okay, but, like, didn't we just imply that the thing that was influencing the staff to back his play was the sleepy god Guivnu? How do we know for sure that Guivnu is gonna keep up that ruse instead of just, like, eating the townsfolk? Like, once he gets what he wants. It doesn't sound like he promised he would do that. Also, like, who wants to, like, wish themselves into being a child? Cool. Let me go ahead and, oh no, I need the, for some reason we still, sure, why not? Okay, well, the game, like, literally just, in true classic The Séance of Blake Manor fashion, the game has basically just, like, read to us what this guy's whole deal is, and then he's like, hey, you know what? I think if we think real hard, we can figure out what this guy's whole deal is. Simon Coventry's goal is to free... We can't choose Guibnu? Fine. The entity, in order to assume the role of his... Executor? Most of these don't seem to fit this blue space very well. I hate the way this sentence is phrased. This is not how I would write this at all. To inherit his wife's belongings. Ancestral home. Because his real identity is ousted heir. Oh no. Oh right, he was going to leave all of his stuff to Walter. I see what we're saying. What do you mean? His goal is to free... I mean, you won't let me choose Guibnu. I understand the story and the motivation, and the way this is written and the options I have to fill it is deeply confusing to me. Because, like, none of his goals seems to be to free anyone, to be quite honest with you. His goal seems to be to have Jonathan Blake kill himself to open a portal. The only thing that he is freeing is the entity, and if that's true, everything else I think is correct, isn't it? You would never write it this way. If you were a sane individual, you would not write this conclusion this way. In order to assume the role of his executor. Walter Blake. Inherit his ancestral home because he is Henry Blake. I mean, Simon Coventry, as far as I know, doesn't even have a dead wife. I think he made that up. So that's not it. Obviously, this space isn't Henry Blake because that's the last one. It didn't like entity. Like, why would he be freeing Evelyn Dean? He kidnapped her, and he plans to kill her. And that's not what the word free means. I think kidnapping someone with the intent to ritually sacrifice them is basically the opposite of freeing them. It might be the absolute polar opposite. What am I missing that makes this sentence make any kind of sense? His goal is to free his dead wife. No, she does not exist. Free the entity. It doesn't seem to like that. I guess I could randomly put Evelyn Dean. I guess I could randomly put his dead wife. That'd make me really mad if that was true. I mean, I'm literally already using the other two, and I'm fairly certain those are both right in their position. Because, like, if we try to put this the other way, his goal is to free Walter Blake, which logically doesn't make any sense. But if we assume that whatever, it's done. His goal is to free Walter Blake in order to assume the role of his I mean, is it... We want to assume the role of his wardrobe? We want to assume the role of Walter Blake isn't real? His wife's belongings? His jewelry shop? Like, none of these fit. Like, I feel like Executor's, like, the only one that makes sense here. But, like, in order for this to, like, have an actual solution, the way they've written it, shouldn't the second red blank be Simon Coventry, his fake name? Like, help me out here, chat. I don't... What am I... Just to free Walter Blake in order to assume the role of his executor. Can't use the same one twice ever. His executor is the entity? Like, to me, this is a whole... Like, this system is already, like, debatably whether it's, like, good or not. But, like, I feel like when I understand the plot, but I don't understand how to tell the game that I understand the plot, you probably screwed up the prompt. That's like a... Like, if you give me a multiple choice question and I literally comprehend all of the information that question is asking about, but I can't answer the question, I feel like you've given me the wrong question or the wrong options. Like, like, I mean, I know I'm like a broken record here or whatever, but like, this is the only one that makes any sense to me, and the game does not acknowledge it. So I don't know what it, I don't understand what it wants. The goal is to free in order to assume the role of his... Is this what it wants? It wants me to say he's going to assume the role of his magical fabrication? I feel like that's a really stupid way to describe that. Like, I feel like the whole way we've chosen to write this sentence makes the plot seem more convoluted than it already is and stupid. Oh, eat farts.
Simon Coventry is really Henry Blake, ousted heir of the Blake title and fortunes. He has returned with the intent of using magic to reclaim what was taken from him. I need to stop him.
Is it bad that at this point in the story, I just want us to get hit over the head with a lead pipe and get another game over screen? Like, the thing I object to there is, like, that's such, like, a specific way of, like, thinking about his plan that I don't think is, like, the Occam's razor of describing the thing he wants to do. Like, the thing he wants to do is just, like, claim his land. He doesn't want to become a magical fake child. He wants to, like... He also doesn't want to, like, save the entity. Like, that doesn't seem to be his goal at all. Like, he's serving the entity to get what he wants. It's a means to an end. His goal isn't to save the entity. He's saving the entity so that he can inherit his own land, which doesn't make any sense. Like, he has the documentation. Why do they need to do any of this? Getting hit with lead pipes leads to getting ejected from Blake Manor. No, that's, I'm saying I think that's the good end. Is like you like derp hazardly just like state the plot of the game for a third time, raid code style. Then you get hit in the back of the head with a lead pipe, and it's like, you saved 19 people, and then the world ended, idiot. Let me look at this sigil. It's clearly important. The annoying thing is you can never, like, reference those when you're, like, looking at, like, a sigil diagram, which, like, you should be able to do for sure. Bed with research materials on it. Was Coventry sleeping down here before the event? I don't care about that man's luggage. Take a look at this photograph. Should save again. Sego says, I need to stop him. Do you? Like, why do you? You don't know that? Yeah, I mean, like, the stakes of this are really confusing. I mean, like, I guess we want to save Evelyn Dean so we get 300 pounds, but I don't feel like we framed Declan Ward as the type of character who's like, I desperately need money, because if that was true, when we found the enormous, like, pirates hoard of, like, treasure chest filled with gold coins in the catacombs, it'd be like, smell you later. Blake Manor? Never met her. Is this where I came from? The other side. I think this is the other side, right? Sure, why not? Why not do this way, game? I think I can do that. I do... No, angle, out. So am I crazy, or did Declan literally already do the job he was hired for? His job was to find out what happened to Evelyn Dean. Job done. Well, if we get her back alive, we get another 300 pounds, which is more than the money we already got, which was a lot of money. So of course, that led to the extremely cursed church with the fisheye distortion. Hang on, there's like a bunch of ghosts out. Oh no, they're the Fae. There's more of them, and they're closing in on the church. Don't let any conservatives play this game. This is the scariest thing they could probably imagine. Well, didn't save the Reverend. He wasn't one of the 19. Sega says, but, and forgive me for getting hung up on this detail, Evelyn Dean is literally already dead. Nope. False. Untrue. I can practically guarantee you that Evelyn Dean is currently alive. She was kidnapped, but for the purpose of being, like, bloodlet while alive during the ritual. Because we found a document somewhere that was like, the blood has to be fresh. They can't have bled out before the blood is used to do the ritual to open the door for Giftmas. So she ain't dead, brother. Didn't we talk to her ghost? Nah. We saw a ghost who looks like her, because of the plot point. Because, like, someone else knew a lady who looked like her. And then we remembered the pain she felt in a dream. But that was a dream. Even if she looked like a ghost, which she didn't, she wasn't dead. Fair inside the church. There's nowhere left to go. Yeah, that's why I'm going down here, buddy. Extremely weird. We're still collecting evidence like an absolute buffoon. I wish Uncle and Cartoon Jackie Chan were here. Coventry, Henry Blake, he's praying to the entity. The smithing god, Guibnu.
Miss Dean, I need to find a way to get her out while she's still alive.
These machines are the funniest thing I've ever seen. Listen to how loud they are. I can hear that through my bum ear. I don't know why that's so funny to me, but that's absolutely hysterical.
It's Mr. O'Finn. He seems to still be alive. I can't see a way to open this and get him out.
I guess this also, I get that 300 pounds is a lot of money in 1890s money. This stopped being worth the price a long time ago. Oh yeah, but like the thing that bothers me, and I said this a moment ago, is like I don't think you can legitimately make his motivation be about money at this point in the game, because we gave like an entire like chest full of gold coins to the house just because we're a decent guy. So if we were like solely motivated by money, like get wrecked, get dunked on. These things all look very conspicuous, including this half-eaten sandwich. But alas, no. Also, how much do you like us just like loudly announcing the name of every person we come across? Look at machine. Don't look at the weird map, though.
Shh, shh. Now, Walter.
I should hit him with a crowbar.
No tears now. Not long to go. Mummy will be home soon. Thanks to you. A big, brave boy.
And again, to me, this creates like a logical inconsistency that voids a lot of this game's like convoluted plot, which is like, we have to get Marquess Blake to willingly sacrifice himself for the ritual. Which actually, no, you know what? This is an even bigger problem. Like, I was going to harp on the same point I already mentioned, which is that, like, it is clear in this moment that he still believes he is sacrificing his child and not sacrificing himself. So, like, if you need the sacrifice to be willing, like, that doesn't make any sense. But then when you add on top of that, like, Evelyn Dean and Mr. O'Finn, like, we haven't seen anything that suggests either of them are, like, on board with being sacrificed, so that doesn't make sense either. So, like, that whole... Like, I know that they wrote that into the game to give a justification for, like, why this guy had to pretend that he was, like, some random dude who didn't know his wife's name and not just, like, use the proper paperwork to claim his own inheritance, which, like, again, considering that he is the rightful heir of the estate...
Giraffe.
Why any of this? Like, why is any of this necessary? And, like, at least one hypothetical windmill that I'm going to joust at would say to me, like, well, he wants his youth back, but, like, he could have just claimed it when he was younger. And, like, I don't think we've seen anything that makes me think he wants, like, eternal life. I don't know. It's just, I don't think we did a very good job of establishing Simon Coventry / Henry Blake in order for this endgame to, like, feel justified or make sense.
This will only hurt a moment. Then Daddy will talk with the floating man and bring you and her back. Then we'll all be together again. One big happy family.
Shunk!
What are you doing here?
Hello, it's me, Declan Ward, everyone's least favorite guy who's technically here.
I want to let you stop this.
I need to get through to him. Well, he stepped out of the chamber. Everyone put on your thinking cap. It's probably the last mystery of the game. You cannot save your family. You've been tricked by Henry Blake so he can take over the Fae. Just kidding. Ancestral home. What if here goes nothing? You cannot save your family, but tricked by Henry Blake so he could take over your ancestral home.
Fooled. But I would have all I could ever. Who was restraining me? And
I don't feel like these responses follow logically from the thing I just told him.
where is my son?
Well, that's the whole deal. That's the trick, my guy.
Where is my boy? He should be here, shouldn't he?
This is. It does feel like we spent the entire video game doing a bunch of unrelated hog turd, and then the game was like, this is what's actually going on. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Which is a problem. I did say at some point I wasn't sure if this game would have a satisfying resolution, and here we are.
I thought.
Dude, that guy who's praying to Giftmas is like deaf, right? Like he's harder of hearing than I am right now.
No. I didn't. They were not my thoughts. Not at all. They were put there. There is no Walter. Just a cruel illusion. Oh, my boy. Taken from me.
I mean, I'm led to believe he never existed. If anything, he was a soft reboot of your older cousin or something.
And Mary. My Mary. She is truly gone. Never coming back.
Wait, now that he mentions it, this does kind of bring up something weird, doesn't it? What is it that his dead wife was mad about during the silent dinner? Like, why was she... Like, she seemed displeased with him, not, like, mad that someone was, like, manipulating him or whatever. Like, why was she mad at him?
Who would make a man think such things? Have such hope?
Like a really smelly bad guy who really likes the 8th god of the Forge in Irish mythology. Wanted to help him on to his way to Tirnanog.
You're right. I have been fooled by a relation I did not even know existed. Fooled by the only real flesh and blood that I have.
So I guess maybe I'm crazy. I was kind of feeling like due to this whole new storyline being introduced in the endgame, that the super open game may in fact actually have a deterministic ending, like I said like 2 weeks ago. I mean, like the thing was, that was kind of always a coin flip, right? Like, I was interested to see if they could manage something that seemed like a logical derivation of all the open-ended gameplay. But I would say that even by the end of like last Saturday's stream, I would say that like, nah, that was probably not gonna happen. Oh, he's large man. Dude, this guy he's rolled like 3 natural ones for perception in a row.
Get off me, you fool!
Do you like that he absolutely abandoned the element of surprise like immediately? He actually chose the weirdest way to do that, because he wasn't so overcome by emotion that he just like screamed while charging at him, but he like ran around in front of the guy to make sure he was aware of him before he made an attack. He didn't do like a classic Austin Powers like judo chop to knock him out, like on the back of his neck or whatever.
How could you do this to me? You gave me hope. You gave me a son, only to take them from me.
You don't understand. I like really wanted my house back.
Some lucidity, is it? I am only doing to you what your grandfather did to me.
That's not like a good argument.
I should have been the Marquess of Dune.
I'm gonna be honest, it's a really stupid title. Nobody should want it.
And I will be.
Also, again, if I'm understanding the story correctly, which I am, like, I don't actually think it's ambiguous enough that I would even go so far as to say, like, I think there's a real chance that that's not happening. But, like, the game definitely said that he is, like, the rightful heir, and that he has, like, a bunch of paperwork of, like, the lineage and stuff, right? So, like, just be the Marquess of Doom. Just do it.
Islam, Jonathan.
You will be nothing!
You gotta be kidding me with that splash sound effect. I didn't realize it was clown time. Mystery solved. The Marquez could not be... Congratulations, everyone! He was always going to die! In, like, the dumbest way possible. Marquez Blake was determined to resurrect his wife at any cost, but he had been tricked into nearly sacrificing himself by the ousted heir, Henry Blake, posing as Simon Coventry. Witness the end of the Blake lineage. That's a really cavalier way of putting it, but you're not wrong, video game. Alright, not sure what to do with all them standing stones. Why did he still have a painting of Mary Blake? What a psycho. Oh, hang on.
The DIDN and the Milesians faced off for the final time at the Battle of Taltiu.
Again, for those of you just joining us, which is absolutely no one, I do just want you to imagine the same game, but you have to read the words that are written on the screen the way that the voice actor said them in order for the game to advance. Isn't that like the funniest version of this game?
After much death, a truce was called. They agreed to halve the land between them. However, the Milesians tricked the gods by claiming the top half, so the DIDN went below ground through this here portal. We even stayed behind to build a lock for the portal that could only be opened again by him and the 3 Milesian leaders, using their blood.
Wait, why did he do that? That wasn't part of the deal, and it's a bad deal. Why did he stay behind for that to happen? Flashback. I assume that the game is doing this flashback in case you like didn't research all the Irish mythology. I'm not actually sure if it's possible to get this far without doing that. I genuinely don't know. I mean, in fairness, you can't actually blame this on the game if it's like actual Irish mythology. That's just Ireland.
Once the portal was closed, he fell into a deep slumber, from which his dreams inspired those who lived here for millennia. Until war came to the land once again.
When the Fire Nation attacked?
Oliver Cromwell and his forces arrived, led in this region by Edward Blake.
This game presumes that I have a lot more invested in like a really niche slice of both Irish mythology and Irish history than I actually do. I'm pretty sure there's a binary ending choice here.
The people Guivna had formed a bond with over the generations. Their blood seeped into this chamber and tainted his dreams. He felt alone and scared. He feels alone and scared still.
But why was he okay with it before? There's no adequate explanation for why he was cool. Like, it's one thing for the gods to like wander off to Tir na Nog and be like, all right, it's like the afterlife, so it's like cool or whatever. But like, why was he like, and under no duress of any kind, will stay behind to be imprisoned by floating rocks, and I can only be released under, like, extremely specific circumstances for no value to anyone other than me. Welcome, Arcadius. You're just in time for whatever remains. We're very close to the end of this game.
Wants to go home to his people.
But why was he here? Please explain to me why he was here at all. I don't like, all of these characters in the, like, end game are like, yeah, but, like, you could have just done a really simple thing and this problem never would have existed. You didn't have to imprison yourself in the Shadow Realm, and the other guy didn't have to, like, banish himself for, like, 80 years. Like, you both could have just made adult choices and there wouldn't be a video game. I think it was forced. Nothing has explained that, because, like, all the other gods just went through the portal on the other side of the room. Like, if that's part of it, that should be explained. That's the whole point of having the expository cutscene. So I think I am supposed to choose one of the two sigils from that stupid book from 1,000 years ago. Open or close. Maybe close does nothing. But, like, the impression... Oh, maybe I'm supposed to use release? Is that possible? Because I haven't used release for anything, right? But doesn't release kill an Aeon? What if we did all this and Seto Kaiba jumped out of the portal? The game would be infinitely better than whatever is going to happen for sure. That symbol doesn't work here, right? I sure wish that I could just, like, consult the sigils I have when looking at a sigil grid. Is this Gweeb new? Imprisoned here for an eternity? Something deep inside me is screaming not to get any closer. Ooh, but what? Hey, but what if I did? Like, forces me to scramble back. Can I, like, go around him? Nah, it really doesn't like that, huh? Got a sigil drawing guide if you like. I mean, I can manage. My point isn't that, like, it is impossible to do. My point is that it's, like, vastly inconvenient for no, like, validly explained reason. Like, as a video game, like, this is a feature that should exist. Let's be real. These dials seem like some kind of control panel. I should be able to arrange them in such a way to allow me to perform a sigil here. But what sigil? So it is open, close, or release. I mean, this is why we saved, though, right? So I need a very top. Maybe not very top. So now we can reference sigils. Well, I think we can do it until we have to draw. I think when I have to draw, it's gonna go away. It's possible the whole time we just didn't implement it for the other sigils. Well, at least it, like, marks. Listen, I want to be clear with you. We have saved. We can see all three of the endings that presumably come from making the various choices at the end of the game. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't start with the one that the Skeletor priest gave me by taking his shirt off. Is that not the ending that plants crave, I ask you, with no sense of irony whatsoever? It's like this until we hit something. I don't know if that works. Ooh, that too, huh? So good at arts and crafts and the guitar. I don't think this is a good ending. Or maybe it's the best ending. I'm a little unclear about the whole release sigil. Okay, that's not what Skeletor led me to believe that was gonna do. Ooh, do we die to a falling rock no matter what we do? Is that how the game always ends? I like how O'Finn can, like, escape by himself, but Evelyn Dean has to be a damsel in... Wow, we sure blew that church up real good, huh? Mystery solved. I stopped the ritual. Got an achievement called Come With Me If You Want to Live. Mystery solved. Can I stop the ritual?
So...
Eh?
this is where the man who saved my life spends his time.
I'll be honest, that's not kind of the vibe I expected from Evelyn Dean. Everyone made her seem, like, really sinister. She seems like a really, like, matronly sort of person in her whole presentation. I don't know.
You'll join me.
Yes. I think at the very least, I owe you a drink.
Are we sitting on, like, a dream sigil stool or something? Save Misty. How does that end?
Freed from the vase's curse, Miss Hisham became obsessed with seeking out other cursed items hidden across the globe.
That seems like a wild takeaway. I feel like you should not do that.
Miss Montavani's family were devastated with the news of her death, but at least her last wish had been carried out, and they were set for many comfortable years.
I mean, she made it clear she could not be saved. He says, okay, I must have fallen asleep or not paid attention to which sigil we used. Yeah, it's a lot of, like, not fanfare. I mean, I tried to describe what I was going for as I was doing it, but the distinction between them is, like, relatively minor. We had 3 sigils available. One is the optional release sigil, is the one that came from the priest when he took off his shirt. That was the one that we used. The other ones were open and closed, and those both came from, like, the treasure hunt Irish grimoire that Evelyn Dean's, like, floorboard note led us to. I saved right before we did it. I plan to show off all 3, although I think these epilogue sequences are almost definitely the same for all of them.
Mr. O'Mara's angel led him deep into the unknown parts of the world. I never learned in search of what. With the curse lifted, Miss Quinn was free to raise her siblings in safety. She supported them only by her earnings as a poet.
They starved shortly thereafter.
Mrs. Darcy disposed of her husband's ghost on her route home. She later turned the events of the manor into the acclaimed horror novel, Eldritch House.
The irony, though, is that it's like Animal House, but with, like, horrible ghosts and unspeakable underworld entities.
Mr. Hunter left the manor and spent his remaining years breeding champion horses for the MacLeod family.
Did he innovate horse armor for video games?
Mr. Doyle left Ireland to see the world.
Boring.
Free from his obligation, Mr. Dupre returned to New Orleans. With a newly opened mind, Mrs. Joyce accompanied him to the new world.
What? That's so random. The connection between these two characters is so weird and arbitrary to me.
Mr. Toussaint shared his account of the seance with his societal fellows, after which it was agreed he should spearhead a new department of supernatural investigations.
Zach, I want you to save that question, and I want to address it when we get to the end of looking at the derpy endings, okay? Sit on that for a minute. God, I forgot Mr. Toussaint existed because he's like the tutorial guy.
He also published a paper, thoroughly correcting every element that Mrs. Darcy had embellished in her novel.
Oh, yeah, Yoda.
Miss Callahan finally retired and passed the role of Dree on the Dr. Callahan.
There's no, you can't, you can't pronounce that Dree. Come on, Ireland. Get your act together, Ireland.
Mrs. Erickson destroyed all remnants of her magical persona and started a new life away from all things supernatural.
Also a really boring character.
With her family lands returned to her, along with the Quinn fortune, Miss Barbosa began a new life in Ireland.
Mrs. Lau and Miss MacLeod retired to a cottage outside London. They never attended another mystical event. Mr. O'Finn went deep into the forest and was never seen again.
That should be exactly what I expected the whole time, but there's something funny about that. Like, he came out of the mists from complete obscurity as like a really essential one of the 3 descendants of the people who claimed Ireland from the Irish gods, and then he just effed off forever in the woods, never to be seen again. Yeah, he went back to his home planet.
Miss Murphy continued the studies she began under Miss Dean and used that power to create a better life for herself. With Miss Callahan's help, she was able to reunite with her daughter.
Also, she placed curses on the
Father
non-believers.
Sinnott retired and spent his last few years exploring the forests of Ireland with his hound, Seamus.
Was he not upset that we didn't, like, break the Black Iron prison or whatever? Somehow Palpatine returned. Somehow
Mr.
Palpatine
Skerritt
entered in
established
the
the
epilogue.
Skerritt Foundation, which set up schools and hospitals for the underprivileged. He is thought of fondly by those he helped.
I should hope so.
Mr. Varley used the treasure to purchase the manor. He turned it into a refuge for lost souls. He kept the name Blake Manor.
Something something sea ant. Detective Ward saved 21 out of 21 people, and 36 of 37 mysteries were solved. We could load up a save file and like try to figure out how to like research the staff, which is clearly the only mystery we didn't get to. I'm not sure that's like worth anyone's time. Okay, so we can, if we want, we can watch the whole credit, but like I want to do the other endings. Okay, so load. End chamber. End chamber, last one. Did get the best ending. Yes, that was clearly the best ending, and it was deeply anticlimactic. Okay, chat, so what do you want to see next? Do you want to see open or close? I feel like open is like a trick in that it's supposed to be good and that it does something bad. Open? Yeah, let's do open. That's fine. So to do open, we must... this has to be... Have to be 3 across the... How do you do that? How would you... Is this the one I wanted? Yeah, this is the one I want. Something is happening. Those don't touch, huh? So let's do... Ooh, tricky. I think I can work with this, or maybe I'm stupid. Outer diamond. Okay, open. So does open, like, explode the portal? Or, like, cause it to consume... It leaves the portal... Okay, so open just, like, jams the door open for all the magical entities to come through and eat human... Oh, look at that! It shows poorly. Look at it shows the horse. No, not the horse. See, this is why we tricked you into being underground, I guess is the moral, because you were gonna eat everyone. I like that this ending doesn't show you what happened to anyone, I guess because it's just naturally presumed that everyone got eaten. Declan dies, best ending found. Okay, hold on.
He just wants to go home to him.
I think that it like gives you evidence clicking this. Like, why? Like, what idiot end? Okay, hold on. So I need... Gotta move this. Is this right? Yeah, I think that's right. No? What am I, the outer corners. Outer one should be like that. Okay, what do I want here? These ones don't touch, so I should do them first. I want to start in the middle, so I end in the middle. Nope, literally. Okay. And then I want to do inner shape, outer shape. Curious if there's a bonus panel of everyone. Oh, I see the problem. How do I do that? Is that gonna have to start on the outside? Do I have to start in the middle? I think I should start on the outside? It matters where I start on the outside, doesn't it? It should probably be... I think it's top or bottom? I don't know if that matters. And then I want... Outer shape... Yeah, this is what I want. 9:24 p.m. What a great time to close the portal forever. No splat for that one? I don't think there's any achievement for getting the open end, by the way. At least not distinct from, like, the bevy of, like, you ended the game ones that we got before. You didn't do a thumbs up. That would be pretty sick, not gonna lie. It's unclear to me how you get an ending where she dies. I feel like one of the achievements implies that she can be dead. I love how, like, even at the very end of the game, he can't seem interested. Stop the ritual.
So... this is where the man who saved my life spends his time.
You'll join me.
Yes. I think at the very least, I will give you a drink.
I can't believe Zach even poses this in chat. So
Freed
funny.
from the vase's curse.
Like says,
Mr.
okay, chat
Sharon
and
became
Vasco. It
obsessed
feels
with
unfair
seeking
for me to
out
decide,
other
so it's up
cursed
to you.
items
Last week I said that if the
hidden
ending was
across the
so
globe.
good that it made this game absolutely incredible, I'd get a tramp stamp that says, if I can form a hypothesis, do I have to get the tattoo? My personal vote is no.
Miss Monte.
I'm gonna skip through these because none of these should be different from the release ending.
With the curse lifted.
Can someone... I know Zach is probably on mobile. Can
Mrs.
someone get
Darcy
Zachula's question from before we did the other two endings? I want to respond to that.
Mr. Hunter left the manor and spent his remaining years breeding champion horses
Inflation
for the
and
McLeod
currency
family.
conversion, he'd get 69,000 today. Nice. I mean, like, for the time,
Mr.
like,
Doyle
relatively a
left
lot. It's not super impressive when you put it that way.
free from his
considering the trouble.
obligation with a newly opened mind.
That pair is so annoying to me.
Mr. Toussaint shared. He also published
It's also annoying to me that Mr. Toussaint,
Miss
like,
Callahan
rebuts the fictional story based on the
Erickson
events
destroyed all
of the
remnants of
Séance
her-
of Blake Manor. It's like, I don't know, it doesn't sound like she's making it a historical
family
account,
lands-
brother. Funny amount of
Mrs.
money may be
Lau and
worth
Miss
it. Does
McLeod
that change your
retired to a cottage
appreciation of the
outside
plot,
London.
Zacula, knowing that it
They
would be
never
for
attend-
roughly the equivalent of, like, funny money dollars?
Mr. O'Finn went deep into the forest and was never seen again.
It's just, that's really funny to me. The only thing that would make that better
Miss
is if it
Murphy
had
continued
the
the
funny
study she began
machine
under Miss
sounds
D
from the
and
basement.
used that with Miss Father Sinnott retired.
Concession, get a Sharpie tattoo. That's interesting.
Mr.
Get
Scarrett
like a
established
henna
the Scarrett
tattoo.
Foundation. Mr.
I
Varney
don't
used the
endorse.
treasure.
I don't think
He
that's
kept the
necessary.
name.
The name Blake Manor. The end. There's actually something, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'm not typically a huge, like, I wouldn't say I'm like a huge fan of like achievement stuff, just like in general. But like in a game like this that like clearly has like hard delineated endings, it feels weird for there to be like an achievement for getting like one and like not distinct achievements for all three of the endings, especially because like with a simple save file like anywhere close to the end of the game, it's like not all that much trouble to get all three of them. I mean, I guess you can make a case that that's an argument why it's like not necessary to do that, but like at the same time, like why put in any achievements then? I don't know. Literally nothing changes between two of the endings. Yeah, I mean, it's really just if you care about Gweebnu. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't. Because the game really went out of its way to make sure that I didn't get invested in Gweebnu at all. Like, I feel like we set up a framework where we could have made it so that, like, I cared about the fate of Gweebnu. But instead, at the 11th hour, they're like, for no discernible reason, he imprisoned himself forever for no value. It's like feeling bad for, like, Emrakul in Magic the Gathering. Emrakul is basically like Cthulhu, who, like, there's this weird storyline where, like, her presence in this, like, gothic world starts corrupting everything and turning them into, like, eldritch horrors. And then, like, she starts trying to, like, influence the world in this way that, like, these two people are, like, investigating, and they realize that, like, through their investigation, they find a way to seal Emrakul in the planet's moon, and then they realize that Emrakul is the one who made them do it. And no, like, it has not yet been resolved, like, why did Emrakul do that? Emrakul seems to be conscious enough to have chosen not to do that. but imprisoned herself in the moon, which is a very funny magic card in and of itself. Imprisoned in the moon. More like Dweebnu. Sick, got him. Hard roasted. Emrakul should be real and your wife. I'm gonna be honest with you. I agree. I think we can all agree on that, really. I love that there is a credit for the trailer narrator. That's very specific. You get a best ending if you get all the mysteries, too. Is that what we're doing for an hour? No, because in order to do that, we'd have to go back through the escape room too, which would take a while, even knowing like the correct answers. Like, unless if chat really wants that, I would be game. I just don't think chat wants that. It's a shame how sad and twisted the story turned out to be. I mean, there's a lot that's kind of a shame, to be honest. Okay, hold on. Give me this. Give me this. And put this here. Not a great use of resources, but we'll manage. Chat doesn't want that. To be clear, that's just Zacula saying that. Oh, check out these spooky babies. We've got Fodhla, Flynn, Parlay, parentheses Fudge, Charlotte McCrellis, Leo Dunja. All very real baby names. Definitely humans. Sounds like Dan. That's a credit. What's happening? Guys, this is a work of fiction. Any similarity to actual places or persons alive or dead or events is purely coincidental. Dweebnu's not a real Dweebnu. Okay, so no post-credits on that, or whatever. Let's drop this out for a second. Chat can weigh in if they want to see us brute force our way through the stick ending. So someone, Demolition, had reposted the question Zacula had earlier. So I have a question. Since the ending is just an entirely deterministic set of 3 choices, if you just know or look up the sigils, can you burn through the whole game super quick, then draw whatever sigil you want for the ending? I'm pretty sure no, in a very strict sense, that at the very least, the release sigil, which seems to give you the good ending, has to be earned and flagged by the game by doing Father Sinote's nonsense. I think if you don't do that, you have no access to that. I also think you only get, I guess it's the closed sigil? I think you only get the closed sigil by following the treasure hunt to get the grimoire in the backyard and to like find the closed sigil there. So I think if you bum rush the ending, the only thing that is available to you for sure is the open sigil that gives you definitely the worst ending, where you open the portal for eternity and all the Fae come out of the portal and turn the horse evil. The bad horse ending, as it were. I don't know what I would expect to be different from getting that last mystery solved. It's also deeply unclear to me what the game wanted me to do to advance the like look at stick mystery. It feels weird to me that Miss Mantovani dies no matter what. I get it. It feels weird. I mean, it specifically feels weird because you can save like literally everyone else who isn't part of the Blake family. But then, like, you get to the end of the game and it's like, you saved everyone except Miss Mantovani. Oh, that's great news. Zacula's missing package actually arrived. Was it an expensive, small display bag for your Pokemon sitting cuties that makes you irrationally angry and has done potentially irreparable damage to your mental health? the thing, and like I should have harped on this at the beginning of the stream, is that like I've been trying to like be more responsible about money, and like it's not exactly like a New Year's resolution, but like because the holidays are so expensive, like I'd sort of planned to like especially like tighten the belt at the start of this year. And to be clear, this next thing I'm about to say isn't the specific reason why, but like there's something that's like really triggering to me that my bank does, where like it tracks like what goes in and out of my account, and like it will make an average based on the last 4 months. And so like at certain times of year when things like naturally get very expensive, like the holidays, it'll be like, wow, you sure are spending like a whole lot more money than you're earning. Like you should really like figure out your finances. But like if you look at the chart that it uses to generate that, it's like well under your savings, like well under your savings, like Christmas, well under your savings. And it's like, okay, but like context clues, like, so like that's not the reason, but like I hate looking at that. I hate when my bank is like, wow, you're really stupid at money. And it's like, no, like Christmas exists, you idiot. Like but like I've been trying to spend less money, and so like, you know, for mental health reasons, I tend to like allow myself to like go out for like a dinner like once every like week or so when things get really bad. And it would have been really nice to do that throughout January, because it's been bad. It's been a really bad January. But like I was like consciously like, no, I know I want to buy this thing, and I'm gonna save up like all of my like minuscule treat money so that I can justify buying this. And then it showed up and it sucked and it made me mad. And so like I think there was definitely like an amplifying factor to the delayed gratification turning into something that like genuinely made me like deeply upset. To be fair, home ownership tells me that you're at least reasonably responsible with money. Solo home ownership at that. Well, I appreciate that observation, which is something that my mom likes to give me credit for, that I think she's too generous with. Good night, Keen. Thanks for joining us for this. I hope you've enjoyed the Séance of Blake Manor. More on that in a second. I think we'll do some deconstructing on that a little bit further. I mean, homeowners. I'll say this. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it in abstract terms. One of the things that was very vexing about this week is that like at the start of a new month, when I am staying on top of it and being good, I usually check just like, you know, that like things are like auto pay is being paid, and that like nothing seems like wildly out of sorts with where I'm expecting money to go. I genuinely am not extremely good about keeping track of that. Like I am not the best with money. I'm definitely not the worst, but I am not the best. But like when I was checking that, I was checking the bank that I have my mortgage with, and like for some reason they were like giving me some alert that like taxes are going to be higher this year on the house, which I haven't gotten notice from the government. And I don't think that happens toward the start of the year for me either. So like there's something weird about that I would like to deconstruct that I haven't had time to do. But like as part of that, I like dug into some part of the interface that like showed the estimated value of my house, and the bank estimates the value of my house as like significantly less than what I bought it for, which like isn't like the whole purpose of anything, but like you don't love to see that, right? You make the biggest purchase of your life, and like less than 2 years later your bank's like, you dummy, look at this crap heap you bought, suckface. But this is a good transition back to talking about the games. Echo says, speaking of the video game, give it to me straight. Am I being overly negative about this game? I really didn't like it. I wouldn't say that you're being like overly negative. Like you may have like a slightly stronger negative take than myself or perhaps others in chat. But having reached the end of it, I would largely agree with you on most points. There's some nuance to like some of the way the storytelling is going that I think you don't give the game credit for. But I don't think you're like completely off base or like, you know, anything like that. But like there's things that I think that I could justify at least for my own purposes and be like reasonably satisfied with the decisions they made. But And thank you for that. Mystery says the house is an asset and an investment. The concern though is that like, is it an investment if it's already worth considerably less than I bought it for? And it was already like an entry level home, which is about as cheap as you could get it mostly anywhere in the country. Hard to say. Time will tell. Obviously, we're in a time of financial crisis. Maybe by the time I sell the house, that'll be different. It just feels bad right now in the midst of all these other things that are making me feel bad. But about the game. So I've said for like much of the playthrough of this game that like one of the chief points of interest and one of the strengths of this game is the open-ended nature of the way that the investigation can play out. That being said, the resolution really confining the way things play out into an extremely deterministic, limited set of outcomes of like, there's definitely one culprit and it's always that guy and his backstory is like nonsensical and it only extremely loosely ties in with all the Irish folklore that they tried to make seem important. And then you choose one of three endings and one of them is outright bad and the other two are like pretty close in nature if you're not invested in the character Gweebnu, which I'm not, because again, they really like loosely tied that stuff in there. Like, there's a weird tension for me about the fact that like this game seems like it's largely about acknowledging different like cultures and belief systems and ideas of like spirituality and mysticism in general. But then like in the end, it's like, but it turns out Irish folklore is correct, even though other magic exists. I'll let you figure out how that works. Like that just seems strange to me. That like it wasn't that we had to like learn a little bit from everyone's culture or something. Like that I think would have that at least has the potential to lead to like an interesting outcome of like if you like engage with enough of like the magical people that opens up another option. Like if getting the release sigil came from like a combination of efforts from like all of the cultures that weren't like the Irish mysticism, I think that would have made that ending a little bit more satisfying for me rather than it just being tied to like one specific character. This needs an example of Middle Eastern magic. I mean, like they put in Miss Hisham, who like is Egyptian, but like she also wasn't like really a magic practitioner in the same way as some of the others, so you didn't really get like she had the cursed like canopic jar urn thing, but like it's not the same thing. I agree with you. Like an effort was made, but it also feels like a cheeky shortcut to like not have to do it. Also gave us a bunch of different folklores and stuff, but that was then... Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying before, is like, it feels like there's this weird, subtle attempt for the game to be like, yeah, all these other cultures, but like, it's Ireland. Like, Ireland for real. But then, like, on top of it, it's weird because, like, we see other people, like, using, like, not Irish magic, right? Like, it's... Like, I don't know what point that's trying to make. It's confusing. But, like, also it's just weird because, like, if you wanted it to be a, like, magic is real and Irish folklore is the correct folklore, then just like make it a game about like Gaelic culture and Irish folklore. Like what's all the other stuff doing? Like it feels like a series of decisions were made that ended up like deliberately muddling what like could have been the best parts of this game. Like in the end, like if you're not concerned about trying to get the best possible ending, or if you're not specifically invested in the outcome of the various characters around the manor, like a whole bunch of the gameplay like doesn't really matter all that much at all, right? Like so much of the investigating various people has next to nothing to do with the culprit. It has everything to do with like figuring out their life story and trying to like solve their problems on their behalf, which like could be the basis of an interesting game, but like again feels like it's at odds with the whole like heavy-handed, like this is about finding Miss Dean and saving her so that I can get 300 pounds. Like That is the thing, and I think that's like a little reductive, but I don't think it's wrong. Zacchaeus says so much of this game does not matter, and that's in a way I think that's the crux of what I've been getting at for a while. Like several weeks ago now, I said something to the effect of like the Séance of Blake Manor is the experience of determining whether the Séance of Blake Manor is a good game at all, and like it. I think it was kind of like a branch of like, is there something like deep and interesting about the nature of the open-ended gameplay, or is this a facade? And it's like, if that gameplay mattered, the game was probably going to turn out great. Because it didn't, and definitely also partially because of the ending that they chose, it's not great. But like, I think this game suffers, like, I mean, in a way, I guess it's good that the game doesn't put a lot of emphasis on earning the different endings. Because, like, if you didn't set yourself up for the best possible ending before the silent dinner, like, the amount of, like, the amount of game you'd have to replay to like flag all of the characters as being saved is like exhausting. Like the scope of the game is like way too big for what the game is doing. Like because the stories of so many of the characters like don't matter, this game like absolutely should not have like 22 interactable characters or whatever the actual total is. It's like the 20 people you could save plus the fake child plus like the Marquess or whatever. But like, there's a thing that I think goes underappreciated in some of these narrative storytelling games that like I think even I didn't start to realize until the last few years. But like, generally speaking, I don't think a lot of narrative video games have a high amount of replay value. If they do, it's for something along, and these aren't the best example, but like they're a clear example, something along the lines of like Until Dawn or like the Dark Pictures anthology, right? Where like the pace of most of them is like pretty quick. And like for the most part, it's really easy to be like, do I want this character to live or to die? Or like what type of thing am I trying to achieve? And you like know what you're looking for going into it. You don't have to like spend hours and hours like poring over arcane, but you know, like there's certain games like, you know, the Daniel Mullen games kind of inspire this in people where like they play through the story, but like he always puts this layer of like interwoven subtext between all his games, and you have to like solve all these like riddles and puzzles to get like secret scenes and endings and stuff. And like there's clearly a market for that. And like particularly sort of like horror storytelling games tend to do those kinds of things. And like that's great. But like I also don't think those types of games like appeal to like a general audience, at least that aspect of them. And I think a game like this is like an absolutely like fantastic example of like this game is like deeply inaccessible to like anyone other than like the most like enfranchised like narrative storytelling game enjoyer. Like it's so long and slow paced, and like because of the weird nature of the way they've chosen to have the hypothesis system work, you can go through like enormous swaths of the game without making measurable progress or getting any sense of like progression through the game at all. Zachary says, personally, replayability does not matter to me with video games. Almost never consider it when thinking about my feelings on a game I play. Like, personally, I would agree with that. I know a lot of people put a lot of stake in that. But again, I also feel like for the most part, those people are just playing a completely separate genre. I mean, like, the only games that I generally care about replayability for are, like, roguelikes. Like, how much enjoyment can I get out of a roguelike versus its cost? Like, not even in a vacuum. It's not like I want to pay like $5 and I need that game to give me like 120 hours of enjoyment. If it's like a $15 game and I get like 60 hours of enjoyment out of it, like that's a great return on a roguelike. If you pay like $30 and you could do like 6 runs before you've basically seen everything, like that's not great. But like, yeah, I mean, like, there's different ways to go about it. Like, Disco Elysium, I think I would agree does have like enough delineation in like the type of storytelling you get. But like again, it's less of a clear example. But I think a game like Disco Elysium is still a game where like it's clear what choices you're making or what choices you want to make, and that's like that helps guide the replay experience. You know, something like this to just like like if you missed like a single mystery and you like didn't have a save file where you could like potentially salvage it, which I think I do if I cared enough, which I probably don't, like having to like replay this and be like, okay, and now I like save Father Sinnoh, and now I save Mr. Scarret, and now like I do exactly the same thing. Like I look at the couch by the fireplace in the library, and then I like look at the missing shoe in the hedge maze. Like there's not enough differentiation in the type of experience you would have playing it again. So like I think the worst part of it is that like it's bad enough when a narrative storytelling game, like everything comes down to that one choice at the end. Like I feel like gamers have known this for a while. Since at least like the late 2000s, we've sort of known that like the choose to be like a Paragon or Renegade, unless it's done in like a really specific kind of way, like tends not to yield like a satisfying set of results that are like derived from your player choice. But like that's the thing is like it feels like that kind of ending is more suited to like a traditional like linear adventure game where like you have like one set experience and then you get to the end and it's just sort of like, do you like Weeb New or do you not like Weeb New? Are you like a guy or bad guy? And like there it feels appropriate because like you don't have to replay the whole game and like you know what the experience of playing the game is. You just want to see how that ending turns out different. And like that I'm fine with because then you just drop a save somewhere near the end of the game and then you check the other ending and it's like, great, now I've experienced the game. That's awesome. This game would be way better as a traditional linear game. Like, totally. I definitely agree with that. But, like, that's the thing is, like, until we saw the payoff of the unique part of the gameplay of this game, it was really hard to evaluate whether it was successful. Seeing that it has just, like, a traditional adventure game ending is like, what are you doing with this, like, 40 hours of slow-paced gameplay that has almost no bearing on the story? Like, that doesn't make sense with proper context. So, like, that's where I'm at on it. Like, the thing that's interesting about the Séance of Blake Manor in hindsight is that, like, the thing that's unique about the Séance of Blake Manor could be used to make a really interesting game. However, it turns out that that really interesting game isn't the Séance of Blake Manor. Now, do I hate this game? You know I get mad at a lot of games. Honestly, like I do think that this game has a lot of weaknesses, and we've been going over those. I'm not trying to be unduly harsh here myself. But like I feel like there's still some good story in here. I think some people like the ending more than I did, and that's fine. Like it's more like there were a couple of characters whose stories that I like was reasonably invested in, and so like exploring that and seeing that unfold was interesting to me. Like I love the bathroom ghost seance. That was probably my favorite thing in the game. Really liked that. But like no, I mean it's not like Rain Code. I mean even though it has some similar problems to Rain Code in terms of its absolute like ludicrous like ballooned playtime compared to like the amount of actual relevant gameplay, like at least it didn't like Raincoat like deliberately exacerbated its own problems by like having like similar pacing issues but then like tripling down on them by like forcing you to like reconclude the same thing like 4 times to advance the plot. And even then, like, as the game went on, every, like, distinct mystery that game explored got, like, dumber and dumber until the end when it was like, oh, Lord. And, like, the game, like, hinges on, like, lying overtly to the player to try and make it seem like it wasn't doing this thing the whole time, which, like, lying isn't a plot twist. Can we just, this is the ground rule for storytelling. If you lie to the people engaging with your story, that's not a plot twist. That's you being a bad writer and also a dick. Demolition said, I'm not quite sure how to say this, but its strength is allowing you to succeed in failures, having lots of variety and choices in dialogue, doubly so with failure, and allowing the narrative to have a few endings that feel like your choices without assigning true morality. That's a deeply nested answer, and there's parts of that I agree with, and there's parts I agree less with. I'm not sure I outright necessarily disagree. I mean, the failures thing is kind of tricky, because, like, I kind of argue that, like, I mean, it's not that it allows you to fail forward. Like, there aren't a lot of narrative games that let you do that, really. There's some that do. One of the only ones that, like, readily comes to mind for me that does that is, like, Baldur's Gate 3. And probably the other Baldur's Gates. I haven't played the older ones. Oh, that's about Disco Elysium. Oh, I see. I don't know. There's parts of Disco Elysium where I also, like, hard disagree that game lets you fail forward. There are times when it definitely does, but there are also, like, important times where it definitely doesn't. And I honestly think that those are some of the bigger pain points in that game for me personally. But, like, there's some element of the breadth of things you can do in this game that is meant to, like, mask the fact that you, like, don't have to succeed at everything. But, like, I don't think that the payoff for that is very interesting. Which is, like, obviously a little bit of a problem. Recently started replaying Baldur's Gate 3 and it's so good. I never got around to finishing it, and I want to. I have no idea how I would find the time to do that. I did hear, I think it was just this week that they announced that, like, HBO is making a Baldur's Gate 3 TV show, and it's like, that seems really weird to me. I'm not sure I like that idea. Like, it feels like a big part of the benefit of Baldur's Gate 3, and again, probably the other ones, is that, like, you can shape that story in such rich and interesting ways with your choices. And I feel like if you make it into a TV show, it will be like a mediocre to bad TV show. Demolition says, to me, if you could fail the tutorial, but almost never again by looking at things without guiding the player through things, I feel like it's poor design. I definitely feel like there is I still struggle to, like, exactly define this, but it is a concept that's, like, clear in my own mind. But, like, I think every video game has a distinct language that it communicates with its players using. And I think there's a big communication error with this game by putting such emphasis on the time early and then, like, drastically changing the way in which the player engages with the investigation. Exiting the window to escape getting caught is good. Yeah, I mean, like, so, I mean, I think I relatively conceptually like the first half of the tutorial of, like, giving you a little look at the hypothesis system and, like, giving you a limited amount of time to show that time is a resource and to prove that the way you progress in the game is by, like, solving mysteries. But then, like, the pacing of the game is so, like, busted where, like, you can go hours and hours and hours without, like, completing a hypothesis and, like, still, like, absolutely get the best ending. But, like, here's the thing, though. Like, I also don't think that the time mechanic is well used in this game, like, at all. Like, I think it's just a hindrance to the gameplay to even have time be a resource. Or at the very least, like, I don't think it should be as nuanced as, like, every minute as an interaction. Like, I think it should be like you commit a certain amount of time to searching someone's room or something like that, and, like, I don't know, maybe the game like doesn't let you leave until you finished, or maybe just like you don't spend additional time to like search that room, similar to how like opening doors in the current build doesn't like advance time. Like once you cross the threshold into like spending like 15 or 20 minutes of in-game timer to like check someone's room, that like checking that room doesn't cost you more time units or something. But like just like all the red herrings of like it's clothes, it's someone's clothes to wear, like it adds absolutely nothing to the game. It like truly, if you remove that from the game, it doesn't do anything to negatively impact the game, and having it there doesn't do anything to positively impact the game. It doesn't need to be there. It was a bunch of extra coding. I don't know why it's there. It makes me mad. But like, yeah, I think you could definitely use like a milestone type of system for like, you know, you have to get such and such done like before dinner, or, you know, stuff like that. Like, I think that's fine. And even that like brings the game more in line with being like a traditional adventure game. Cause like those like adventure games love to like impose a time limit, but like completely lie to you about it. They're like, oh no, like we're in imminent danger. And then you could like file your taxes and like have the game on your second monitor, and then like by the time you're done, they're still like, it's getting close, we really gotta do something. And like it's never gonna happen unless you like actively like do something that makes the game like give you a bad ending or something. Like I said, HBO found success with like 2 video game shows, and now every financially successful video game needs to be a TV show. I mean, HBO has The Last of Us. What's the other one I'm not thinking of? Like the BioShock flooding halfway hallway thing. Yeah. Stuff like that. Where like it gives you a sense of impending danger, but like it's not that the minutes matter, whatever. Oh yeah, Fallout was Amazon, I think, right? Prime Video. Every streaming service is the same. It is weird. So I complained earlier about the fact that like in order to watch a single show on HBO, I had to like renew my HBO account. And then I found that like the cheapest way to do that was to like just bundle with like Hulu and Disney Plus. And I was like already paying for Hulu, but like if I basically just like paid the same amount but accepted having ads on things again, then like I would have 3 services for the price of one. So like maybe we're approaching the point where everything just becomes a single cable subscription again. It's not. Everything will just get worse. We know this, but like it's fun to think about. But yeah, I mean, there was enough unique and interesting about the experience of the Séance of Blake Manor that even though this game took like 1,000 years to play, like I'm like reasonably happy to have played it. Like a lot of times with like the ending of a story game is bad, it makes me upset enough that like the whole thing is like lost on me. And sometimes even to like a ludicrous degree where like the game isn't actually that bad, but it makes me upset. Like Inscription was a little like that. Like I felt like a lot of people were like, oh man, the ending of this game is so good. And I got to the end, I was like, it exists. I don't know. The game itself is good, but like that ending just like doesn't do it for me. But like, yeah, I mean, there's like interesting things to discuss and think about and compare to other games, and like something from this game could even like show up in a future game and be really interesting. And like I respect and appreciate the value of the experimentation that this game did, even if at the end of the day I don't necessarily think that the experimentation was hugely successful. But like, I don't know, maybe these same people, like now that they've made this game, have like a better sense of how to like implement that system in the future and can do something cool with it. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, anyone have any other thoughts, questions, or concerns about the Séance of Blake Manor? Obviously, Count Zacula in chat is going to be getting a permanent tattoo of if only I could form a hypothesis. Just kidding. That's definitely not. That's not going to happen for so many reasons. I will say sometimes you swing for the fences and miss, and that can be fine. Yeah. And I absolutely, to be clear, Zacula, teasing aside, Like, this is definitely a game that, like, I understand other people hating or just, like, not jiving with at all. It is interesting to me that I've heard mostly positive things about it, but, like, I don't really know a lot of people personally who've played it, by which I mean I don't know any, to my knowledge. I feel like I would have left if I were playing this with the minor frustrations and artifices. There's a funny thing that happens as a streamer where, like, I think that for me also. Like, I don't know. There's like a narrow window with this specific game where, like, after the, like, full tutorial was done and the game opened up, like, if, like, my initial experience with the, like, double tutorial thing, like, did not do it for me. I did not like what the game was presenting at that point. When it opened up, it seemed a lot more interesting. Now, with hindsight, we know that that doesn't matter at all, which, you know, makes it less valuable. But, like, I think that if I had played, like, those first, like, 4 hours or whatever that ended up being, I don't know exactly how much time we spent in the dark zone where I was like, this game is dumb. I think if I wasn't doing this on stream, I'd be like, all right, and I'm good. Psycho says, I would say that if literally anyone else was streaming this game, I wouldn't have watched it. And if I was playing this game, I wouldn't have finished it. Yeah, like, here's the thing. I'm actually really interested to know what the statistics are on, like, how far people get into this game before they give up on it. Because, like, I don't know. I think it was on Time to Beat that we saw, like, an estimate that this was, like, a 20-hour game. I don't think that's a realistic average. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on, like, what you consider maybe what that indicates. And I don't know how many, like, sources that was drawing from. But maybe the idea there is that, like, people got about, like, 18 hours into the game and then, like, just gave up and, like, advanced the hourglass to the silent dinner and then just, like, ended the game. I am a little curious, if you don't figure out that, like, Joyce is the one who hired you, like, can you not end the game? Do you just, like, when the silent dinner comes around, do you just, like, eat dinner, like, flash forward to the seance and then get killed by lightning? I guess that's how that would work, right? Looking at the percentage of players who have gotten the ending achievements is a good metric. That is probably a good idea. Why don't one of you look that up? I'm gonna see if I kind of want to quit the game, which hopefully doesn't spike my CPU. Doesn't seem thrilled, but I don't think it's pissed. I want to see. Give me. I think I have the lowest incident of this doing something to piss me off if I go incognito mode. And then let me mute desktop while I try to sort this out. Then it's Blake Manor best ending. I see a long play that is all achievements in one run that is like 10 hours long, which, like, if you have a guide, I can believe that. Something says all 3 endings. Do we know for sure? Demolition, when you looked up something that said that there was, like, a best ending for getting all the mysteries, like, what did it say about? Did it indicate what was different? If we filter out all the people who didn't complete the tutorial achievement, we can drill down pretty well based on story checkpoints. Hover over Steam. Did you get God? Hang on. If I go to library, hold on. Can What fun. What fun through yonder window breaks. Okay, let's look at the Séance of Blake Manor. I have 40 out of 45 achievements. I did get God Killer. And breaking the circle, yeah. Okay, so you don't actually need all the mysteries, you just need to, okay. See, that was my impression, but that's good to have confirmed. Oh, so what specific, so we're saying God Killer is free Gweebnu from his mortal form. See, the weird thing about that is, like, that is consistent with, Father Sinot gives you that sigil of release, and he tells you that it will, like, kill the entity, which is what he wants it to do. But, like, when we did release, it didn't seem legally distinct from just, like, opening the portal, other than it didn't jam the portal open for everyone else to come out. Like, there's like a minute distinction between, like, if you release, he is released from the spinning rock cage, and then he just, like, slides into the portal and no one else comes out of it. But if you, like, open the portal, then all the bad guys come through it. So, if we look at the 3 different endings, it's the end of the world as we know it. That is open the portal, bad end. 20.9% of players have this achievement. Whereas, God Killer, the good ending, is 33.3% of players, which is a little weird. That suggests that, like, more people got the good. That's weird. And the other one is Come With Me and Hero. Those are at, like, the average between those two. For some reason, that's a little different. I don't fully understand why. It's like 37%. Does this tell me the ones that I am missing? Some way to do that, isn't there? They're all hidden. Well, who cares then? I mean, surely one of those is, like, solve all the mysteries or whatever. Always had plus 20% of the people who never started. Global has what you're missing. It doesn't in this case, because all the ones I'm missing are apparently hidden, which is whatever. It's fine. But what is the... Let me look at that list again. What is the tutorial? Oh, that's fun. Wow, that's really interesting. So only 76.7% of players have gotten, like, a fail state, which is funny to me. Groundwork is, like, completing the first tutorial. Wow, these are actually really interesting figures. So groundwork is the achievement for doing the first tutorial, checking in on Friday night. That's 81.8% of players got that. So almost 20% of players didn't get through the first part of the 2-part tutorial. And then Bounty Hunter is the achievement for completing the end of the tutorial. That's 67.3% of players. So that's, like, an additional 15% of players dropped off after that. That's, like, crazy, dude. I mean, it makes sense, because it's kind of an off-putting game. Snowshin says, in Global you can click to reveal them. No, it didn't seem like it was doing that before. World's Best Detective, solve all the mysteries. That's 21.3% of players have that. Then there's Obscure Scholar, attend all of the talks. I failed that because I didn't know how the drawing room worked until, like, halfway through day 2. That's fine. I definitely don't care enough to get that. Bellboy, ring the lobby bell 10 times. Very important. And then run. Stop the ritual without saving Misty. I don't understand how you do that. How do you stop the ritual without saving her? How do you do that? If you buy the game, you're auto-included. So if you never play it, you're part of the 20%. Sure, but still, I mean, like, a 15% drop-off between, like, the midpoint and end of the tutorial is harsh. What's the Dean one called? It was like run away or something. No, just run. Just run, exclamation mark. I don't know. I honestly feel like I'm glad that we did this research because I feel satisfied and justified that like we were able to display what mattered to me in this game. This requires that you do the bare minimum for survival without solving people's mysteries. Bare minimum is the following. Investigate Marquez Blake, investigate Walter Blake. Wow. But that's weird. Like, why does that cause her to die? Like, that seems weird. Hi, friends. Well, yeah, thanks, Mystery. I mean, I think we're on the verge of wrapping up. But thank you, Mystery. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Like I said, I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover, both in-game and out. This was an interesting experiment of a game. I don't necessarily think that it is, like, the future of games, but it could definitely lead to something interesting in the future, and I would like to see that. Before we wrap things up, read through anything else Demolition posts about that ending, but take a look around this room, because somewhere amongst the various plush friends, including some who don't fit nicely into the expensive bag I got to make myself sad, are hidden some number of Squirtles. A secret Squirtle hidden in this way, behind or under or occasionally even inside of one of the other stuffed friends, will be an omen of good luck for you in the coming days. I encourage you to look around before we wrap things up and see if you can find a Squirtle this way, because it's 2026 and who can't use good luck, for goodness sake. This is the kind of studio where it's like, okay, not a great showing, but it's worth keeping. Yeah, I like that, Zacula. And I feel I mean, so these are the same people who did both of the Dark Side Detective games, because they had that bizarre cameo. And like those games were great, and they were traditional adventure games, like very traditional adventure games. But like, yeah, I mean, like they've definitely demonstrated that like if they announce a game, it's worth me looking at it, right? Is that a thing I could do on Steam? Is like follow a dev? I'm not sure I've ever done that before. Probably should have if true. But yeah, let's catch up. So everything else other than investigating Blake's can be ignored. When the final scene begins, you choose to flee rather than stay. I didn't even know you could do that. That's ridiculous. But wait, flee the hedge maze? How do you do that? Because then you just get eaten by the Fae? Choosing to save too many people, approximately half, gives you a more positive ending. That's a really funny way of describing that. That's really funny. It's easier not to save anyone or solve their mysteries for a speedrun. Yeah, that's what any percent's all about. Okay, so we got some guesses. Still can't hear anything out of my left ear. Hooray for me. Not better. Okay, so we got Carlos, Pikachu, Owl. I think we determined Owl was this one. It's a fox, but it does have kind of like an owl mask on. I asked that because we've got this penguin who may be owl-esque to you as well. I'm unsure. But let's take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow. Let's start with Carlos. Not a Squirtle this time, but a haunted house. Very thematically appropriate for the seance. I'm sorry, the Seance of Blake Manor. However, if we look behind Pikachu and our mysterious friend, the Fennec Fox, we will find Squirtles there, in addition to a Squirtle behind this penguin. Can anyone guess that theme before we go? What's being played next? What a great question. I was debating. So it's funny. It's technically Strong Week, but I'm pretty sure no one in chat cares. Which is kind of one of the reasons why I started phasing that out a couple years ago. Even though in some ways it makes me sad, but in some ways it makes me feel like I'm more free to do what people want. But it feels like a very appropriate time for me to remind myself once again we could have been playing Five Hearts Under One Roof. I mean, unfortunately, chat seems to hate that idea, even though I really still want to do it. My instinct, there's actually a game that is like really short. It might be less than one stream in length. I stumbled upon something like right before I did the Giftmas stream last year, so like I haven't had time to really revisit it since I've spent all my time on Blake Manor because it's so long. That was like a relatively recent adventure game. It came out either last year or 2024. That seemed interesting to me. That was like expanding on like a really short, almost like experimental adventure game released on like a freeware site a long time ago. I think they both ended up getting released on the Switch. I haven't like bought or downloaded it yet, but like I was kind of thinking that might be a nice palate cleanser from the like extremely long game. Is the short like 1.5 game experience that I think is something people will like. I'll give it some thought. There's a non-zero chance that like if something like really like triggers me or like sets me off tomorrow, that I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna do whatever the easiest thing I can do is. And I mean, I doubt that's play the Christmas sequence in Resonance of Fate, but it would be funny if I did. But it might be something like Balatro, or like if people wanted to see it, it might even just be like me finding an excuse to play some Pokemon ZA, which I haven't had time to do in a long time. But I don't actually think anyone wants that. But like, it's undecided. There's something I want to do next week. But I don't know. I'll give that some thought too. Because I don't know that takes all of next weekend. It could. Basically, I don't have a hard answer. And continue to ask me that at the start of this week. And I was like, what a great question. And then change the subject. But anyway, that's going to do it for the Seance of Blake Manor. Thank you for watching. I've enjoyed this journey, even though it's a little stupid in hindsight in some ways. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. And I hope to see you again soon. I'll be back tomorrow with some nonsense that you'll probably enjoy, and probably less yelling at an expensive bag that I bought to make myself sad. Until next I see you, take care of yourselves, and remember that you are clawsome.